the US Congress regarding renewing the deal.
We have indicated even in previous years to say AGOA in terms of the economic impact for South Africa, it's 1.3% of our agricultural economy. So we are looking at the work we're doing to have an agreement with the US on our trade relations, but we support the initiative. Remember, we made proposals on the renewal of AGOA.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has appointed Advocate Matthew Chaskelson as its chief evidence leader. This follows the departure of Advocate Terry Motau, who stepped down from his position. Motau led the evidence of National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola over 2 days last week. Now, it remains unclear why he stepped down, with the Commission claiming he left on good terms. Oren Singh reports.
While Advocate Terry Motau has yet to make any public statements about why he stepped down as chief evidence leader for the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, it's understood that he was not completely happy with the way the Commission was going about its work. Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels confirmed Advocate Matthew Chaskelson would take up the reins of evidence leader.
The Commission confirms that Advocate Terry Motau SC has stepped down from his role as Chief Evidence Leader and has left the Commission on good terms.
Chaskelson was one of the evidence leaders in the State Capture Commission. His focus was on the illegal money flows, and his work stream recovered 875 million rand from global consulting firm McKinsey & Co. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
And President Donald Trump says there would probably be a U.S. shutdown this morning, blaming Democrats for the stalled talks with Republicans on a funding deal. Now, Trump told supporters and reporters in the Oval Office just hours before a midnight deadline, which is 6 a.m. South African Standard Time, for a deal. This will be the country's first shutdown in 6 years, with funding expiring at midnight American time after Democrats fought a war of words with Donald Trump, and senators rejected a last-ditch attempt to keep the lights on. Despite negotiations in Congress, there has been no breakthrough, with Democrats and Republicans to fund the government beyond Tuesday. This marks the end of the fiscal year in the U.S. Now, beyond the lack of progress, the negotiations have been unusually bitter, with White House Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries berating Trump over a racist and fake AI-generated video the president posted.
We'll probably have a shutdown because one of the things they want to do is they want to give incredible Medicare, the Cadillac Medicare, to illegal immigrants. And what that does is it keeps them coming into our country, and like they do in California. And no country can afford that. No country.
Gold is trading at $3,858.47 an ounce. The rand is at 17.27 to the dollar, 23.21 to the pound, 20.26 to the euro. Brent oil is at $66.15 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North just as you approach the Geldenhuys interchange while travelling on the Mike 1 North. Some delays between the Boysons Road exit and the Crown interchange.
And in your sport, Orlando Pirates up to third in the Betway Premiership after a 2-0 win over TS Galaxy. Arne Slot bemoans penalty decision in loss to Galatasaray in the Champions League on a night where Bayern Munich and Chelsea picked up wins, as well as Real Madrid. And Indian women have won the opener of the World Cup against Sri Lanka.
A partly cloudy morning in Gauteng. Johannesburg starts at a low of 12 degrees, peaking at a high of 25. Pretoria's at 13 and 26. Vereniging 8 and 24. The top story in EWN this hour: some political parties have paid tribute to Ambassador Natim Tetwa, calling him a dedicated public servant and patriot.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Seven minutes after 6 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast on this Wednesday, the 1st of October. My gosh, it's October. It's the 10th month of the year. Beginning today, the year of our Lord, 2025. Welcome one, welcome all. Where are you listening to us from? Bronkhorstspruit, Zandspruit, Rankuwa, Wattville, Ritabiseng. Wherever you are around the world, we aim to tell you what's happening in the world. We'd love to know what's happening in yours. We'll try to make sense of it and together have conversations about it. I'm not alone. We've got the amazing Mongezi Koko in for Sfiso Zulu today to give us the latest you need to know in eyewitness news. Amogelang Ramela is here for traffic.
Good morning. Morning, Bongs. Morning, 702 Landers.
How amazing is Mongezi, hey?
He
There's
is.
all of this incredible talent at EWN, and I'm really pleased to see it. KG is back, starting the clock on the desk. I've got producers Bapilile and Ropfiwa taking your calls, and of course, welcome back Rem Klope in for Muteo.
Morning.
Good
hi.
morning.
Nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you too. And Anthony Teixeira will tell you everything you need to know about Liverpool.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
All the Liverpool fans. What was that word we learned the other day? Liverpool fans? Liverpudlians.
That's right.
Yeah, Liverpudlians, I think, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what they are called. Liverpudlians will be upset, but they'll understand the shade. All right, today in the Africa Report, we'll be speaking about Peter Mutharika's return to the highest office in the land in Malawi. I'm going to remind you of an interview he did with the BBC some years ago. I think it was at the height of the lockdowns and the pandemic. And he had taken a delegation to the UK that mostly included his family members. And I remember the BBC interviewer asking him, you are here with your wife, your son, your daughter, I think it is, or it was, and your foreign ministers back home to attend a virtual meeting. It was a virtual
Wow.
And that's the guy Malawi has decided to re-elect. He's 85 years old. He's made all sorts of promises, and perhaps they were looking for a steady pair of hands. Who knows? We will, of course, reflect on the story you've just heard in Eyewitness News. No doubt you would have heard it quite a bit yesterday afternoon, the passing of the ambassador to France, Natim Tetwa, formerly, of course, a minister. And his name was mentioned just the other day in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. We'll speak to Durko about that. But also, AGOA, a one-year extension. We thought yesterday was D-Day, but a one-year extension. We'll speak to the Deputy Director General of the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition about the impact of that. And we'll tell you about the Ultimate Braai Festival.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
So here's a question. Have you ever had a debt that you were paying over a period of time? And I'm talking a number of years now, that you just thought, my gosh, when is this thing going to go away? I told Africa Melane about buying a bedroom, you know, those 3-piece bedroom suite things. From the traditional furniture stores. I bought it for my mother as a birthday present. I think she just turned 60. I was 25, newly working, and I had no idea what I had signed. I just saw the monthly repayment amount. And years later, I think it was 4 or 5 years, I'm like, hi, guys, I still owe on this thing.
No.
You know? And of course, I mean, I would guess, let's say it was, I don't know, 3,000 Rand. I probably ended up paying 12 or something, because that's just what those hire purchase agreements can lead you to. And you don't read the fine print. You just know that you're paying, I don't know, 300 Rand a month, and you think, oh, okay, I can afford that. But over time, you find out, my gosh. And it was probably the last time I ever bought furniture in that way. Ever since, I have always saved up and waited, or not had whatever it is that I might have wanted. But the idea of paying a monthly installment for furniture, it ended with me that year. Ray?
Yeah, when buying a car, just be a little bit careful, because they say, yes, here's your car, and comes with all the perks. But then there's the chip thing. Then there's the rim thing. And I stupidly, a couple of years ago, I'll have all of these. These look great. Well, 30,000 Rand later, Mr. White, I had to pay them all off. So it's just like, watch the T's and C's, watch the fine print. Yeah, I'm still a bit sour about that, actually.
Yeah, no, and sometimes, and this idea that every 5 years you must renew a car, even if it's in tip-top condition, I've also learned maybe not the wisest thing to do financially. Amo, you're a responsible adult here. You're the adult in the room.
And those errors are the reasons why I try not to get things on contracts or on debt or on or try to get a heavy loan that I wouldn't be able to pay off. So yeah, those are my exact reasons.
And that stunning jewelry you paid for cash, hey? We are streaming, of course, on YouTube, by the way. You can check us out on our YouTube channel if you want to see what we look like and what we're doing in the studio. All sorts of craziness with people passing us papers and bits and pieces. Otherwise, welcome to the show.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Of course, as I say, we will be reflecting not only on the big story emerging yesterday. One of the stories we'll certainly be looking at is, again, more testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And yesterday, those WhatsApp messages being put on that big screen, the SAPS Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo, testifying there yesterday. And the big name that came out was Brown Mkhotsi, who is now has been admitted by, at first he denied it, but then he later did say he was an associate of his, Senzo Mchunu. With each passing day, you kind of think, what is he going to come and say? Because it feels to me that every single witness we've heard from so far has all but buried Senzo Mchunu, who is still, by the way, the police minister. However, he is suspended. But certainly one of the things that emerged yesterday was this attempted murder accused, Vusumuzi Kat Matlala, essentially organizing and arranging for people to go to the ANC's January 8th conference in Cape Town to listen to the president. Just take a moment and try and put those things together, right? Of course, we also heard about all sorts of other things, but these monies being organized by a close associate of the police minister to facilitate the attendance at a political party event where the president of the republic was going to speak. Right? Do you ever get the sense? I watched Sizwe Mpofu Walsh's podcast. One of his latest interviews is with the political analyst Lukhona Mnguni, who makes some really, really forceful points. One of which is it's reasonable to assume the president knows more about all of these shenanigans than General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, who would have a snapshot from where he is sitting. But everybody, including Mkhwanazi's bosses, would be the ones briefing the president about what's going on in the country in terms of our law enforcement, right? You would reasonably expect, because if he doesn't, that's a problem. But what has he done about it? What has he done about it? It took Mkhwanazi doing what he did with that dramatic press conference to get us to where we are. And Lukhona Mnguni cites the example of Andrew Chauke, right? There's now an inquiry into his fitness to hold office. And he makes the argument that Shamila Batoy, the National Director of Public Prosecutions, spoke up 2 years ago, wrote to the president 2 years ago. And he sat on this matter. Now again, where would the nexus point of all criminality be in South Africa? In the economic hub in Johannesburg. And the person responsible for prosecuting those criminals is facing serious allegations of interference, making decisions that are hard to explain. And his boss tells you, this man is a problem. And you sit on it. And so the obvious question then is, if you could sit on something like that on Andrew Chauke, which was, by the way, quite public, none of what I've just said now is new information. What has he been sitting on that is private information, that is classified information that we don't know? Do you ever get the sense that he's moved out of the union buildings? Do you tell your neighbors when you move out, if you buy a new home, if you go to a different place, you're going to live in a different suburb, different area, do you do a whole round the neighborhood,
not
say
a whole
bye-bye to people?
Not a whole round neighborhood, but like your closest neighbors, the one on your left, the one on your right, if it is that you are in the middle. So
Right.
I think you would. It's fair that you would, because soon maybe you had a good rapport, or sometimes you
Yeah.
would leave your kids with them. You had a relationship. So I think you would.
Ray?
Yeah, I would. Definitely. I've made friends in my neighborhood. Yeah, by all means. I would have the courtesy to actually say goodbye. I wouldn't just disappear in the night.
Here's the question. has our president moved out without telling us?
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
Ray White, you've got a question?
I do indeed. Which piece of technology or program has changed your life at home? So it's at home the most over the past decade.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, unrestricted or unlimited, whatever it is, these things that we use, where your experience of being online is exactly the same as it would be, say, if you were at work, right?
Okay.
That has absolutely, because we couldn't do half the things we do. I mean, I always say the funniest joke people make about my job is to think it ends at 9 o'clock. Hysterical, right?
No.
And so I wouldn't be able to work in as efficient a manner as I do without Wi-Fi and being able to be online at home.
Uncapped Wi-Fi.
It's
got to be uncapped.
It's just completely. I mean, I remember once in the early days, I had those little router things, and a friend came over and said, "Oh, what's the Wi-Fi password?" And I thought, that I am.
Don't touch me on my Wi-Fi.
Amo?
My air fryer.
What's your best? What's your best? What do you cook best in that air fryer?
Meat. Usually it would be the meat, vegetables, roast vegetables. I put them in the air fryer. But usually it's meat, and it's nice and quick, and it's not so oily or sticky, So the air fryer is my best.
It's changed all our lives, hey?
It has.
Ray?
My camera system. I've got a security camera system which I run off my cell phone, but the camera system itself is just beautiful. I can see every sort of section of the property. When I go to sleep at night, I press one button and all the cameras light up. Love it.
All right. We'll find out what prompts that question coming up.
702.
Weather.
All right, what conditions can we expect this midweek? Partly cloudy skies in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures starting at lows of 8 and 13 degrees in Johannesburg. Pretoria 13 and 26. Mbombela 12 and 25. Vereniging, I beg your pardon, 12 and 25. Mbombela's 8 and 24. Bloemfontein is 13 and 28. Durban cloudy with moderate to fresh northeasterly winds, peaking at 31 degrees. East London is 28 and your high in Gqeberha is 21. In Cape Town, you can expect a maximum temperature of 20 degrees.
EWN Traffic.
All right, the CWN Traffic is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires, prepared to perform whatever the terrain. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got some delays already along the R59 North between Swartkopjes Road and Nelson Mandela Avenue. There's also queuing traffic along the Markwan North between Boysons Road and the Car Street. Peak time delays are reported there, while in the city of Tshwane, more peak time pressure delays along the R80 East Mabopane Highway approaching Eskempahlele Drive. Please be on the lookout there and continue driving with K. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
Welcome to the brand new days. Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days. No one will ever understand just how much your car means to you. The way Bumblebee carried you through road trips, or how Ruby Gold has been there for every big moment. This Name Your Car Day 2 October. 702 is teaming up with Stellantis, the global automotive powerhouse behind brands like Citroën, Alfa Romeo, Peugeot, Opel, Jeep, and Fiat, to give you a chance to win your share of 20,000 Rand. All day on 702. WhatsApp a voice note of your car's name, the story behind it, plus your name and ID number to 072 702 1702. We could call you all day with 5,000 Rand to celebrate your bond. Thanks to Stellantis on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that video to download.
Or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 45142. Like 57-year-old Andy, who now pays only 1,083 Rand a month for his 2024 Ford Ranger. With Outsurance Comprehensive, you get 24/7 roadside assistance in case you break down, run out of petrol, lock your keys in the car, and more. Get used to getting more out. SMS out to 45142. After switching, 48-year-old Felicity now pays only 836 Rand a month for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson. Outsurance will either save you money on your car insurance or give you cash. That's right. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Good morning, Bongani. Spike here from Lens. Two things happened, and they're very, very suspect. Nathi Mtheto's death and Advocate Terry Mutau's sudden departure from the Matanga Commission. In Sesotho, we say, "Ikhwadi ikhwatsana." Thank you. Have a good one.
Morning, Bongani. This is Golani from Swigeng. A big question around Nathi Mtheto's passing. The man was an ambassador, a diplomat in a foreign country. Where was his security detail? I mean, these guys in South Africa, you never miss them with the blue lights protected, running up and down the highways. He's in France, for crying out loud. What happened? What happened? Where was his detail? How can the whole ambassador go missing from the embassy? Nah, man, we don't have crocodile tears to cry. Madlanga is boiling them. Madlanga Commission is boiling them. The truth will come out. Either way. Thank you. Great show as usual.
Look, I mean, we've got to be careful not to speculate about what we cannot confirm for sure, but certainly eyebrows will be raised. Why was he in a hotel? Why was he not in the ambassador's residence? I think it's a fair question to ask about his security detail. On the other hand, Nigel, he would have been in a private suite in his hotel. I mean, I don't think the security detail go as far as that. There may have been somebody on the outside. But again, if he went missing, there's just a number of questions we don't quite have the answers to. We'll speak to Durko about those coming up in the big interview a little later on, but it does raise some questions. The withdrawal of Advocate Terry Mutau is something, again, that remains unexplained. We've tried to reach out to him to get an interview. Hopefully he will grant us one at some point, or at least tell the nation why he has left this commission. But lots of questions being raised and not many answers.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
All right, things you need to know at this hour. Well, that's the big story, isn't it? Tributes continuing to pour for South Africa's ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, who died in Paris yesterday. He was found after reportedly falling from the 22nd floor of the Hyde Regency Hotel. His wife had reported him missing following what she said was a worrying message. French authorities are investigating, but it is believed at this stage that he may have completed a suicide. He was only 58 years old and had a long career in public service, including roles as Minister of Police, at one point Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, before becoming ambassador in 2024. Here's a bizarre story. On Monday, a man was arrested at a popular Durban restaurant on Florida Road. He spent 1,500 Rand on a meal and then refused to pay, claiming he didn't have the money. And so the restaurant managers called the police. But in the interim, they made him wash dishes.
Literally
wash dishes at the restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, police took him into custody and opened a case of what they're calling bilking. Bilking? That's an actual word. Bilking.
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that what would he have eaten for 1,500 Rand?
That's huge.
And what do restaurants do? I mean, do you think they size you up and they look at Mongezi and they say, "Ooh, do you think you can afford?" Hey, how would you tell?
You can't.
Do you know what I mean? How would you tell if the customer can afford the bill or not? But yeah, that's a really bizarre story. Adam Gilchrist in The Worldview will tell us about the Indian High Commission condemning the vandalism of a Mahatma Gandhi statue in London. The High Commission calling that a violent attack on the idea of non-violence. Good news if you're a member of Discovery Health. The country's biggest medical aid scheme is delaying its 2026 contribution increase for 3 months. This is thanks to better than expected investment returns. And so it means members will not see new premiums until April next year. And if you are a member of Discovery, I tell you what, we'll take all the relief we can get, don't we? Won't we? Did you know it was on this day in 1982 that the first commercial compact disc was released? The first CD players were announced in Japan, and Billy Joel's 52nd Street album was the first commercial CD released. It's the one that has Honesty, which is one of my favorite songs by Billy Joel. Despite early resistance from record companies and skeptics, the format thrived, and it revolutionized how people listened to music. And of course, it paved the way for DVD, Blu-rays, and today's era of digital downloads and streaming. I had at one point, I still do, about 500 CDs because that was the thing you collected. They're all sitting in a box in my storeroom somewhere.
702. The newspapers.
Mongezi, were CDs before your time?
Yeah, they were.
They were before
his time.
Before
my time,
gosh,
yes.
Ray, just think about that. Just think about how we are the Madalas of this show.
So old.
Mongezi Gogo is in, of course, for Sfiso Zulu and doing a sterling job, I can tell you. What's attracting your attention in the papers?
Look, good morning to everyone. Well, I went through the business day, and in the international section, we know that the U.S. government is now facing a shutdown. It's in full effect, started at 6 a.m. this morning. In addition to that, we have more than 150,000 federal employees who leave the U.S. government's payroll this week. Now, this is after they accepted buyouts from the government. It's the largest single-year exodus of civil servants in nearly 80 years. We've got like 4,000 who've left NASA between January and April. So this is really kind of a scary time for the U.S. So I found that piece particularly interesting. It's in the business day.
Here's a word you might relate to as a young person. America is wilding right now.
It's wilding so bad.
Right?
And the facade that it had, falling off.
It's wilding. Whatever you say or can say about our democracy is that the stress tests came in early. America hasn't had to deal with this kind of thing in almost all its history, has it? The front page of the business day, 550 billion rand hole that could swallow Eskom. The utility warning that unpaid municipal bills and an inadequate tariff trajectory could create a funding gap of more than 550 billion rand. And that's why I was asking the question about a debt that's simply not going away. I mean, as Eskom tries to apply for tariff increases and NERSA approves this or that amount, there are people who watch all of this completely unbothered because they're never going to pay their municipal bills, and it just keeps going up, and nobody is doing anything about it, least of all, number one, at the union buildings. Nati death mystery is the front page of The Citizen. This is, of course, referring to the passing away of Nati Mthethwa. And The Sowetan, inside Matlala Mokhotzi's explosives messages.
EWN Business.
Ray, you want to know which piece of tech or program has changed our home lives over the past decade? What prompts the question?
Well then, Amazon has unveiled a refreshed lineup of devices optimized for home security in its new artificial intelligence-infused Alexa Plus voice assistant. At an event in New York, Amazon showed off Echo speakers, Fire TV streaming devices, a new Kindle reader, and improved Ring and Blink cameras as well. Amazon is trying to drive interest in the new Alexa, which it spent years updating with AI for better personalization and a more conversational tone. The effort carries significant weight as Amazon has spent billions on Alexa and it just hasn't made a profit. Amazon also rolled out improved cameras for its Ring devices for better home security, including facial recognition to help ward off unwanted visitors. The new Ring cameras, available later this year, will be enabled with Alexa Plus, allowing the devices through the use of AI to help make decisions like whether a visitor is delivering a package or is casing the place, wanting to break in later on. It's so interesting. It really is.
Gosh, this US shutdown. Tell us about how that might affect the markets, Ray.
Yeah, this is a story to watch today. Wall Street futures have slipped with the US government shutdown now in force as of 33 minutes ago. As a result, Asian markets have hesitated after a solid quarter of gains. The Nikkei down about 1%. I'll have more on you for you on this at 7:25. The big story this morning. The rand now to the dollar 17.27. The pound at 23.22. The euro 20.28. Platinum $1,572.35. Gold is $3,862.40, and Brent crude oil $66.12 a barrel. More business news in that big story in about an hour.
Well, let's go straight there. In fact, Mongezi Gogo in for Sfiso Zulu, and 33 minutes into it, Mongezi, let's see what's happening in the US.
Thanks, Bongani. Let's start there. We do begin in the US, where the government has begun shutting down this after midnight or 6 o'clock South African Standard Time today. This as lawmakers and President Donald Trump failed to break a budget impasse during acrimonious talks that hinged on Democratic demands for healthcare funding. It is the first shutdown since the longest in history, lasting 35 days almost 7 years ago, and it will stop work at multiple federal departments and agencies, affecting hundreds of thousands of government workers. Let's turn to this now. During his testimony before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry 2 weeks ago, KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi accused Nathi Mthethwa of politically interfering in policing matters. News of Mthethwa's death broke yesterday after his body was found at a hotel in Paris. Investigations surrounding the circumstances of his death are ongoing. Mthethwa, who was serving as SA's ambassador to France, previously served as the Minister of Police at a time when crime intelligence was under public scrutiny. Singh reports.
During his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi accused Nathi Mthethwa of halting criminal prosecutions into former crime intelligence head Richard Mdluli back in 2011. Mdluli was accused of abusing his powers by misusing the crime intelligence slush fund. At the time, Mthethwa was police minister and Mkhwanazi acting national police commissioner. Mkhwanazi claims Mthethwa accused him of forcing the former inspector general of intelligence, Advocate Faith Radebe, to write a letter to the NPA instituting criminal action against Mdluli.
The minister says to me that I forced the inspector general of intelligence to write the letter that says this matter must go to court.
Mkhwanazi says when he attempted to refute the claims, Mthethwa shut him down.
If we talk about political interference, that was the worst I've ever experienced.
Mkhwanazi claimed shortly after the meeting with Mthethwa, he stepped down as acting police commissioner. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
Gauteng Health MEC Nomantunko Moralohoko says the issue of fake medicine is affecting chronic patients like HIV and diabetes. Moralohoko was speaking in Kempton Park at the launch of the National Action Plan set to combat the use and distribution of fake medicine yesterday. Now, the MEC says the use of fake medicine often worsens patients' conditions, adding pressure to the province's already inundated healthcare system. Jabri Lembata was there.
Gauteng Health MEC Nomantunko Moralohoko says every day people's lives are impacted by medicine that does not serve its purpose or heal them. The World Health Organization says 1 in 10 medical products in low to middle income countries like South Africa, medicine is substandard or falsified. Nko Moralohoko adds that they have discovered that even some chronic medicines, like that of people living with HIV or diabetes, has been falsified, risking their entire livelihoods.
This puts a heavy burden in our hospitals, in our clinics, where staff work tirelessly to care for patients who arrive in a very critical condition in the hospitals and in the clinics.
She says it has become a priority for the department to deal with this problem. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News, Kempton Park.
And the Western Cape Taxi Association, Cadeta, says it's disappointed by the delays of its court application challenging the Western Cape Mobility Department's taxi route closures. Now, the matter was postponed for a third time by the Western Cape High Court yesterday. Today marks exactly 2 weeks since Mobility MEC Isaac Sileku implemented a 30-day shutdown of routes and specific lanes at taxi ranks in Mfuleni, Khayelitsha and Somerset West. Cadeta has approached the court on an urgent basis, asking it to reverse this decision. Ntutuzelo Nene has more.
Judge Josiah Dalamo has postponed Codeta's application until Saturday to give both parties more time to argue their cases. Codeta's Edgar Mohale says the delays are causing them huge financial setbacks.
Because there's 36 taxis that they've been parked now. They're not operating in Khayelitsha. And there's another, I think it's 40 of them. They are also parked in Mfuleni. They're not operating. And you see now it's month end, they need to be paid.
Mohale says they still don't understand why the routes were closed. He adds that they'd been operating there for 3 weeks before the shutdown without violence. Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
Partly cloudy skies in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures starting at lows of between 8 and 13 degrees, peaking at highs of between 24 and 26.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the Marquand North between the Boysons Road exit and Carr Street. Peak time delays there while travelling in Kelvin. Roadworks are taking place on the N3 North and they are causing delays approaching the Baklou turn off. Please be on the lookout there coming out of Marlborough Drive.
The top story in EWN this hour, the US government has begun shutting down after midnight or 6 o'clock South African Standard Time today.
Hollywood Bet Aziz Shege. Be on the Game is back for the new soccer season. Up for grabs is a share of 4 million rand in prizes, including the Toyota Rumion, Corolla Cross, Hilux 2.4 GD6 DC, and a Starlet Cross. To qualify, bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures for your chance to score big. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Think about 6 years ago when Amapiano was just a musical instrument. When streaming meant watching water flow, not videos online. And remote work was only said when your remote batteries died. So it makes you wonder, what will the next 6 years bring? Hino trucks now come standard with a 6-year drivetrain warranty, covering everything from pistons to gears. So although a lot can change in 6 years, our warranty promise won't. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
The Money Show. Weekday evenings at 6.
You confirmed you dropped your case against NERSA that was to try and stop the licensing of 4 electricity trading companies. Just to confirm, you're never going to bring that case back. It's gone.
No, Stephen, I did not say that. The minister asked the ESCOM board to consider 2 things. A, to drop the case or to stay the case.
The Group Chief Executive at ESCOM.
The Money Show.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA, proud sponsor of South African Auto Week 2025. Your partner in growth, powering a sustainable future together. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. It's Mali. Bongani, as the public, we will speculate. Remember, these guys, we cannot just wait for them to feed us information, whereas they've been feeding us lies all these years. So now the Madlanga Commission, all the truth is coming out. So we will speculate as the public. Remember what happened to Gavin Watson, the guy who had never driven like a manual car in over 20 years. But for some strange reason that day, he was driving a manual car. So, and this one, he's an ambassador. And then no. Bongani, something is fishy here. We will speculate as the public. Thank you.
Good day, Bongos. Great to meet you. That's Abraham in Florida. Bongos, it's very concerning that a whole ambassador can go missing for a day without any information surfacing. And had this happened in South Africa, say for instance, an ambassador from France had passed on in South Africa, the media, everything would be all over, and we will be hearing of information of what supposedly happened, any details surrounding what could have happened, and really our international relations would have to account for that. So we also demand that France tells us what happened to our minister, our ambassador.
I don't know if making a fuss is going to give us any answers, but what people will certainly be thinking about is one of these moments when General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi was testifying at the Madlanga Commission and implicated the former police minister Nathi Mthethwa.
And then I received a phone call from the Minister of Police, Nathi Mthethwa, commissioners. I went to his residence in Waterkloof. And when I arrived there, the Inspector General is sitting on one side of the table, Mr. Mthethwa is sitting on the other side of the table. The minister says to me that I forced the Inspector General of Intelligence to write the letter that says, Mkhwebi is wrong, this matter must go to court. She said, I forced her. Then I told her, I said, no, Minister, Advocate Khateb is an old woman. She's an advocate. How can I point a gun at her and force her to write a letter? Besides, when this letter was written in her office, and she actually is not the author of the letter. The author of the letter is Advocate J. Govender, who is an experienced prosecutor person who's working in that office. She's the one that drafted the letter, not you, not the Inspector General of Intelligence. The minister didn't want to hear any of that.
He called it the worst case of political interference he had ever encountered. In fact, he went on to say that he was being used as a pawn.
A simple say, must stop prosecuting Ndluli, we must stop disciplinary case against Ndluli. Now, if we talk about political interference, that was the worst I've ever experienced. At that time, Commissioner, I come from the specialized operation. The only thing I know is to chase criminals. And I'm promoted to become the acting National Commissioner, and I'm confronted with this in front of me. And I said, but this is not what I signed for when I joined the police. This can't be right. The minister can't give me these instructions. Then I said to the minister, maybe you brought me into this position and you thought you were going to use me as a pawn because perhaps of my age or whatever, but you are wrong. I'm not going to do that.
You picked the wrong guy. So speculation will indeed continue to be rife. And as I said earlier, we will be speaking to Durko after 7.
EWN Sport.
And Anthony Teixeira is the bearer of good news. No doubt you will start with the most impressive team in the land for your sports bulletin.
I will indeed start with Orlando Pirates.
As to whether they're the most impressive team in the land, it's up for grabs.
Based on current form, they really are, to be honest with you.
So where are we on the log?
Third on the log.
How? After all these victories.
Yeah, but you still have 3 games in hand. That's the thing to be positive about.
What must we do now?
Win those 3 games in hand. It's now 5 successive wins for Orlando Pirates in the Betway Premiership and 9 across all competitions. They saw off TS Galaxy 2-0. Evidence Mahopa converting from the penalty spots 20 minutes in, and then Sekhofatso Mabasa headed home his 50th goal for the Buccaneers. Here's coach Abdeslam Wadou.
It was a very, very difficult game. We expected a very strong opposition. We get it. I'm very happy about the team spirit, the unity, the solidarity of my players. We played well. The players have respected our plan, and I'm happy for the victory tonight.
Can I be one of those who owes Wadu an apology? I was not a believer at first. Amo? You're staying out of it.
Okay.
We owe this coach an apology, don't we?
No, we do.
We do.
I mean, many people were skeptical.
Yeah.
But we honestly do.
When he came in, he sort of said, we're going to continue with what we've done in the past, and maybe it will take us a while, and then we'll start to implement our ideas. So consistency was king in this case. In Europe, Arne Slot's Liverpool saw his side suffer a second loss in the same week as they were beaten 1-0 in Turkey against Galatasaray in the UEFA Champions League. Victor Osimhen, the match winner from the penalty spot, although Slot wasn't too sure that it should have been given to begin with.
I haven't seen it back, but there was no contact with the feet, and maybe this was a situation where their player was really smart. He felt something and made it feel as if it was an unbelievable hit, and the referee said, yeah, there's contact, and then the VAR cannot overturn it if there is contact. although he did overturn the contact in the last minute when we got a penalty.
Elsewhere, Chelsea recorded a first win in Europe this term as they beat former manager Jose Mourinho's Benfica 5-1. Same scoreline for Bayern over Cypriot side Pafos. Kylian Mbappe scored a hat-trick and sealed the 5-0 win in Kazakhstan over Kairat for Real Madrid. 2-2 between Bodo Glimt and Spurs, and for consecutive matches, Atletico Madrid scored 5 goals as they thumped Frankfurt 5-1. In rugby, the Springboks have made just one change to their starting 15 and 4 across the matchday 23 for the Rugby Championship clash against Argentina. Oxenchair gets a start with Grant Williams, Jesse Kriel and Bongani Bingwa on the bench. Coach Rassie Erasmus downplayed the idea that this is his best side, instead suggesting those who missed out wouldn't have had time to prepare well.
Would love to give Andre a chance. Obviously, Franco's not here, and same with Faf, same with Mapimpi. So, yeah, we would have loved to do that, but we thought, only 2 days of training, maybe just 2 training sessions, you can't change too much. So, I guess that played a big role. We 40 players, and we can interchange, but with just 2 days of training, that wasn't too easy to do.
And the ICC Women's World Cup started with India beating fellow co-host Sri Lanka by 59 runs in a rain-affected ODI. India had to dig deep as they posted 269 for 8 after being at 1 point, 124 for the loss of 6. Deeprit Sharma then led the bowlers with figures of 3 for 54 as they dismissed the Sri Lankans for 211 runs. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hi, my name is Kami. I'm 11 years old, and when I want to grow up, I want to be a neurosurgeon. I can't wait to play with you, Uncle Bongani.
We can't wait to play with you. Can you win 10,000 Rand?
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
11 minutes before 7 o'clock. Delays on the N3 North. Amma, what's going on?
Bongani, it's due to roadworks that are taking place along the N3 North, as you say, just near the Bakru interchange. Delays from now Vincent Chabalala Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N17 East. This is in the Boksburg area due to more roadworks that are taking place. They are right after Roundabout Road. Do expect delays there. While traveling on the R59 North, we've got delays between Swartkoppies Road and Nelson Mandela Avenue. Please be on the lookout there. Peak time delays are causing, peak time pressure is causing those delays. Please drive with care. We'll have more updates. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702. Serving the 702 family in 702 land, including those of you in Carltonville. Following the development of gold mines in the area, Carltonville was established in 1937. The town is named after a director of Consolidated Goldfields, Guy Carlton Jones. The nearby Puneng gold mine is the world's deepest mine, reaching a depth of over 4 kilometers. It is also the home of the Johannesburg Skydiving Club, which is based at the Carltonville Airfield. 702. Let's walk the talk across 702 land, including Carltonville.
Stamino Grow is a 5-in-1 supplement with amino acids, antioxidants, B vitamins, and other essential vitamins and minerals that help promote energy, well-being, immune defense, and mental vitality. Stamino Grow, 221 years of supporting Mzansi, ranked among the top 5 best-performing multivitamin brands in South Africa. Stamino Grow. Grow for it.
You are not dreaming. You are repeating. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Insurance, pineapple. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Good morning, Bongani. I think you got it wrong. It was Lazarus Chakwera, the outgoing president, is the one that went to the UK for that meeting with his family, and it turned out to be a virtual meeting. I remember that very well. It's not Peter Mutharika. It's the outgoing president that did that. Walter from Cape Town.
Walter from Cape Town, you're absolutely right. My producers were wagging their fingers at me. I did get that wrong. I twisted them. I had them the other way around. But I'll play that audio coming up as we do the Africa Report.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Give away some cash, shall we? Today we are playing with 11-year-old Game, who is in Soweto. And she goes to Basa Protea Glen Combined School. Game, are you ready to play? All right, that's not, there we go. That's just picked up. Game, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
And you are ready to play. KG, start the clock. Spell the word speak.
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 S-P-E-A-K.
Correct.
Speak.
What do you call the person who flies an aeroplane?
A pilot.
Correct. True or false? A banana is a yellow fruit that monkeys love to eat.
True.
Correct. How many days does the month of December have?
30.
31. On what side of the road must people drive in Australia, left or right?
Left.
Correct. What is the name of the fairy in Peter Pan?
Pass.
Tinkerbell. How many sides does a triangle have?
3.
Correct. In which sport do male players take part in the British Open?
Pass.
Golf. What do we call animals like kangaroos with a pouch to carry babies? Marsupials is the answer we were looking for there. And that means, Game, you walk away with 600 Rand. 6 correct answers is what you get for playing the Whiz Quiz.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Well, coming up in the next hour, what's the question? And it's brought to you by Outsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. So what you do is you send us an answer based on something you heard on the show that piqued your interest. And for that, you win 1,000 Rand. WhatsApp us your name and that answer to 072 702 1702. And then, of course, a little later, someone else will ask a question to get to your answer. And for their troubles, we'll give them 2,000 Rand. Remember, you stand a better chance of being selected to give us today's answer if you've SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So do it now. SMS out to 45142 and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
The Africa Report.
The Africa Report focuses on Malawi this morning. In a stunning political turnaround, Peter Mutharika has returned to power in Malawi, unseating the incumbent president Lazarus Chakwera. And it is he who I referred to in my earlier conversation. This is, of course, amid soaring inflation, rampant unemployment, crippling currency shortages. And it defies an earlier vow not to run. He is 85 years old. But Mutharika this time rallied voters with promises of economic recovery and stability. He even said he even claimed areas that were said to be strongholds for Chakwera. There will be questions about his fitness and his health and capacity to lead, but it is a remarkable comeback that has sent shockwaves across the nation. We invited international human rights law researcher Tendai Mbanje to join us this morning, but I believe there are some connection issues, so we're trying to get him on the line. But in the interim, let me take you back to that BBC News Africa interview I referred to in July 2021. This is now the president who's just been voted out, where he had flown a delegation to the UK to attend a virtual meeting. And in that interview, as you might imagine from the BBC, a few questions were being asked of him as to why he needed to do this. It's a really hilarious exchange. Have a listen.
Is it true that on this delegation to London, which is actually a virtual conference, which you'll hear, as I understand it, paid for by the British government, you have 10 people, you wanted 61 to come, reportedly. It was reduced to 10, and of those 10, you've included in the 10 your wife, your daughter, and your son-in-law.
Everyone has a responsibility, like you just mentioned. It is not that I have included them. They are part, because I brought my wife, and I did not invite myself, by the way, to this conference. conference. I have done conferences in Malawi virtually, and over 10 of them. This was an appeal to me to be present here personally in order that we might deal with certain things.
As the president
Yes.
of the country, your foreign minister is back at home, and in the delegation, you've brought your family.
No, I didn't. No. Don't even use that. I brought Malawians that are doing something along with me on this trip.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? Right? So that's the guy who's just been voted out in Malawi. He wanted 61 people to attend this conference, which was a virtual conference. In the end, they allowed him 10 as part of that delegation, and it included his family members, whilst key members of his cabinet stayed back home. You have to wonder what it will take for South Africans to have the same attitude, right? If Malawians can do it, surely we can did it too.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Morning, Bongs and the team. There's only one way to tell is we get a independent contractor to do a DNA analysis on Natim Tetwa. I don't believe he's dead. I'm sorry. It's too convenient.
We've got about 2 minutes and we just don't have time to delve into issues of Malawi. We finally connected with Tendai Mbanje, but the connection just didn't help us. I think he had connection issues and that's why he couldn't join us earlier. But with 2 minutes to go, I'm afraid we're going to have to revisit this issue some other time. Continuing speculation, of course, about the death of the former Police Minister Natim Tetwa, most recently ambassador to France, dying yesterday in Paris. The other extraordinary moment that happened in the news cycle yesterday was in the US. I want you to listen to, he would have been called the Defense Secretary before, but now I suppose he's the Secretary of War because the Department of Defense is no longer called that in the US, but called the Department of War. Listen to Pete Hegseth, who brought together the top brass of the military in the US, and he, with his President Donald Trump, addressed them. And this is what he now says will be the policy for the military. Have a listen.
War does not care if you're a man or a woman. Neither does the enemy. Nor does the weight of your rucksack, the size of an artillery round, or the body weight of a casualty on the battlefield who must be carried. This is not about preventing women from serving. We very much value the impact of female troops. Our female officers and NCOs are the absolute best in the world. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. Today, at my direction, each service will ensure that every requirement for every combat MOS, for every designated combat arms position, returns to the highest male standard only. I'm also directing that warfighters in combat jobs execute their service fitness test at a gender-neutral, age-normed male standard scored above 70%. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new.
He said bye-bye beardos. He doesn't want soldiers with beards. He said he doesn't want overweight soldiers. And very clearly from that description, he doesn't want women soldiers, who, by the way, constitute 18% of the U.S. military.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
Natim Tetwa's death shrouded in mystery. Up next, we speak to the Department of International Relations and Cooperation and a postponement, if you will, an extension of AGOA for a year. We'll also speak to the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition.
This is EWN.
Natim Tetwa's death leaves unanswered questions about political interference in policing matters, and US government enters shutdown as Congress fails to reach funding deal. Good morning, Gamunki Zikoko. During his testimony before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry 2 weeks ago, KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi accused Nathi Mthethwa of politically interfering in policing matters. News of Mthethwa's death broke yesterday after his body was found at a hotel in Paris. Investigations surrounding the circumstances of his death are ongoing. Now, Mthethwa, who was serving as SA's ambassador to France, previously served as the Minister of Police at a time when crime intelligence was under public scrutiny. Oren Singh reports.
During his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi accused Nathi Mthethwa of halting criminal prosecutions into former crime intelligence head Richard Mdluli back in 2011. Mdluli was accused of abusing his powers by misusing the crime intelligence slush fund. At the time, Mthethwa was police minister and Mkhwanazi acting national police commissioner. Mkhwanazi claims Mthethwa accused him of forcing the former inspector general of intelligence, Advocate Faith Radebe, to write a letter to the NPA instituting criminal action against Mdluli.
The minister says to me that I forced the inspector general of intelligence to write the letter that says this matter must go to court.
Mkhwanazi says when he attempted to refute the claims, Mthethwa shut him down.
If we talk about political interference, that was the worst I've ever experienced.
Mkhwanazi claimed shortly after the meeting with Mthethwa, he stepped down as acting police commissioner. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
For live updates on the Commission, visit ewn.co.za or watch live proceedings on our YouTube channel. Let's turn to this now. Government says it is confident the U.S. will agree to a short-term extension of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, also known as AGOA. AGOA is a trade agreement that dates back to the year 2000. Now, it allows for duty-free access to the U.S. for goods from countries based in sub-Saharan Africa, including South Africa. The AGOA deal expired yesterday, with the White House and representatives from the African countries working behind the scenes to renew it. Speaking on the sidelines of the extended cabinet Lekgotla yesterday, Minister in the Presidency Khumbudzo Ntshabeni says there are encouraging signs from the U.S. Congress regarding renewing the deal.
We have indicated even in previous years to say AGOA in terms of the economic impact for South Africa, it's 1.3% of our agricultural economy. So we are looking at the work we're doing to have an agreement with the U.S. on our trade relations, but we support the initiative. Remember, we made proposals on the renewal of AGOA.
Taxi Council Sentaco is set to launch its 2025 October Transport Month campaign at the Smarter African Mobility Conference today. Now, the campaign will run under the theme Striving for Safety, Service and Embracing Technology. Sentaco spokesperson Rebecca Phala says the initiative aims to improve services and safety for commuters in the country. She adds that the council will be engaged in addressing the myriad of issues affecting commuters.
We're striving for safer journeys, better service and smarter ways of doing business. This is a journey of fixing, building and improving step by step together with our commuters as well as our operators. Sentaco remains committed to walking this journey with all our stakeholders, ensuring that the taxi industry continues to play a central role in the transport ecosystem.
In the Western Cape, Premier Alan Winde says his visit to various states in the U.S. recently has yielded positive results. Winde says despite recent challenges between South Africa and the U.S., the Western Cape has maintained long-standing relationships with certain American states. A delegation from the Western Cape government joined Winde on the recent trip. Carlo Peterson has the details.
Premier Alan Winde says the Western Cape has strong agricultural, tourism and foreign direct investment links with the U.S. Winde was in the US last month to hold high-level engagements with government and private sector stakeholders in Washington, D.C., Atlanta and New York City.
We also took the opportunity while in the US to just visit Georgia. We have a long-standing arrangement with the state of Georgia, 2014 onwards as a collaboration, how we work together in various sectors of our economy.
Winde says the province's relationship with the US has garnered more than 15.5 billion rand in trade and more than 33 billion rand in foreign direct investment in the last 10 years. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
And in the US, the government has begun shutting down this morning. This after lawmakers and President Donald Trump failed to break a budget impasse during acrimonious talks that hinged on Democratic demands for healthcare funding. Democrats and Republicans have been unable to bridge their differences on funding the government beyond Tuesday, which was the end of the fiscal year, with both sides blaming each other. Senate Republicans tried to rubber stamp a House-passed temporary funding patch, but could not get the handful of Democratic votes required to send it to Donald Trump to sign off. Now, Democrats want to see hundreds of billions of dollars in healthcare spending for low-income households restored, which the Trump administration is likely to eliminate. In its first shutdown since the longest in history, lasting 35 days, almost 7 years ago, it will stop work at multiple federal departments and agencies, affecting hundreds of thousands of government jobs. Gold is trading at $3,858.47 an ounce. The rand is at 17.27 to the dollar, 23.21 to the pound, 20.26 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.22 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 East. That's as you leave Eldorado Park area. This is between the Golden Highway and the N1 exit due to a car stuck on the road. There's also queuing traffic along the N3 North. This is between the Yelands Interchange and Van Buren Road.
And in your sport, Real Madrid, Inter Milan and Bayern Munich record back-to-back wins to start their UEFA Champions League campaigns. Orlando Pirates see off TS Galaxy to make it 5 consecutive wins in the league. And Springboks make 4 changes for the meeting against the wounded Pumas at Twickenham.
A partly cloudy morning in Gauteng. Johannesburg starts at a low of 12 degrees, peaking at a high of 25. Pretoria 13 and 26. Vereniging 8 and 24. The top story in EWN this hour. During his testimony before the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry 2 weeks ago, KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi accused Nathi Mthethwa of politically interfering in policing matters.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 7 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast. So much on the go around the world and indeed here in South Africa. One of the most bizarre moments, and if you've been following the case against Julius Malema, the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, and his bodyguard in the East London Magistrates Court, it's been an extraordinary couple of days because judgment was expected on Monday, and the magistrate spent most of the day recapping what had happened during the trial. And so, okay, we thought certainly yesterday she'd finish. And at some point, she got ill, quite literally as she was reading and getting to the point of her judgment. It was just an unbelievable moment. Magistrate Toinette Olivier seemed disoriented whilst delivering that judgment in Julius Malema's firearm case in the East London Magistrates Court yesterday. I mean, have a listen. It was quite bizarre.
I have no problem with that. At the moment, it's not the media, it's the lights, and it's affecting my eyesight. Not read for about 20 minutes. It will definitely enable me to pick up speed once we commence. So what is the suggested time to commence? I'm very pale. It's only because of the strain on my eyes and the lights here. Okay, so it's, let us say it's 10 to 1 by the time all agrees. Can we say 1:30 we will be ready in court to proceed? Thank you.
It was really quite something. They didn't proceed, of course. So we'll finally get some finality on that one, hopefully today. Up next, a conversation about the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. Sub-Saharan countries given a bit of a reprieve. Have a listen to the minister in the presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, explaining why this matters to the continent.
AGOA, you must follow the U.S. Congress on their renewal. There are those who are advocating for renewal, and the discussion is whether it's a year or is it a longer period. But that's the decision of the U.S. Congress, because that's where it's driven, and I think you must follow that part. We have indicated even in previous years to say AGOA in terms of the economic impact for South Africa. It's 1.3% of our agricultural economy. So we are looking at the work we're doing to have an agreement with the US on our trade relations, but we support the initiative. Remember, we made proposals on the renewal of AGOA.
And of course, talking of the U.S. Congress, there's been a tense standoff between the Democrats and the Republicans leading to that government shutdown. You made reference to it a little earlier on, Ray White. I want you to listen to this clip. It's a standoff between the Democrat Senate leader, Chuck Schumer, and President Trump as they clash over responsibility for this government shutdown, which began our time in South Africa at 6 o'clock.
One thing I think we can agree on is we shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute. And you want to shut it down. You keep talking about it.
The last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened it up very
times.
quickly. And
20 times.
I don't want to do what you did.
20 times
Chuck,
you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wool. None of us have said.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my...
You've said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
fair enough.
And I am proud, and I'll tell you what,
disagree.
I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck, because the people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
But we believe you shouldn't shut it down.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Right, that's the level of leadership in the U.S. at the moment. Ray, what will this mean for the average American?
It's a very good question because things shut down. We need to watch flights. That's going to be the big thing as well. Basic services. You go off to a government department. You try and get a document or something like that. You won't be able to get it. They do have essential services, though. Police will continue to operate, military, etc., etc. But think about it in our terms. Flights remain to be seen because these are government institutions that keep the flights going.
So like air control services,
traffic control,
air navigation service, they're ATNS essentially.
Exactly. So let's see what happens there. Nothing reported just yet, but this is new territory because as we progress into this, we need to see what's going to happen.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Things you need to know at this hour. Yesterday, a military court in Kinshasa, this is in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, sentenced the former president Joseph Kabila to death in absentia for treason, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. Kabila, who ruled, and that's what he did. He didn't just govern, he ruled the DRC for 20 years, has mostly been living in this country since late 2023. And did you know it was on this day that Nelson Mandela got a little piece of the outside world in his Pollsmoor prison cell because the apartheid regime gave him a television set. He watched, or he was allowed to watch, from 4 in the afternoon until nearly 7, and he was able to get glimpses of life beyond those prison walls. Just a TV, but for Mandela, I imagine it really was the world. I think that is absolutely incredible. Nigeria's oil workers launching a nationwide strike after Dangote Oil fired over 800 staff for unionizing. And happy birthday to Zach Galifianakis, born on this day in 1969. You'll know him, of course, from North Carolina to global fame with The Hangover and Between the Two Ferns. He's celebrated for unique humor, music talent, and his down-to-earth personality.
702. Up next.
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
It's 7:15. This Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Peak time delays everywhere, Amo.
That's correct, Bongani. Along the N1 South leaving Centurion between the Brockfontein interchange and Olifantsfontein Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 North. This is now between Beyaznodia Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. While traveling on the N3 North, please be on the lookout for roadworks that are taking place. They are right near the Baklu interchange. Delays from Vincent Chabalala Road. I'll have more updates. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 86. I got stuck behind a learner driver for 20 minutes. Don't be that guy. With the Outsurance Pointsman on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance Pointsman ease traffic congestion to get you there quickly and safely. They've been doing so since 2005. Show them some love online using hashtag #PointsmanLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
16 minutes after 7 o'clock, on to this now. Let's talk about AGOA, which of course is the African Growth and Opportunity Act. After weeks of anxiety, no doubt amongst business leaders, intense negotiations led by the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, and even a personal plea from President Ramaphosa to the United States. And no doubt there would have been some talks at the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA 80. It does appear that we have a reprieve. AGOA is set to continue for yet another year. We've invited Kolelwa Mlumbi Peter, who's the Deputy Director General of the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, to talk us through it. A very good morning to you and welcome to our program.
Good morning, Bongani.
All right, so can you give us the definitive answer on where this act is? Are we fully getting that 1 year extension?
There are processes that are still taking place in Congress. As you may be aware, Congress is currently busy with continuing resolution bill that aims to pass funding for their government and avoid the shutdown. So it seems the delay for the extension has been necessitated by this, but we understand that there is still bipartisan support for the extension of AGOA, albeit only for a short period.
All right, so as things stand, because of this government shutdown, you are hoping that it will be extended once Congress comes back together again. But at this stage, effectively, does that mean it's off the table practically in practical terms?
Yes, in practical terms, it means that AGOA has expired yesterday, the 30th of September, but efforts are underway to renew it as soon as possible.
So what happens, or what's your advice then around how businesses ought to be thinking and operating in this environment of uncertainty?
During this period, the traders or importers from the U.S. side will have to pay both the most favored nation tariff as well as any applicable reciprocal tariff on the products that we are exporting to the U.S. There are products, though, that have been exempted from the reciprocal tariff, especially minerals and some pharmaceutical products, lumber articles, and so forth. So 36% of our exports are currently exempted and will only be subjected to the most favored nation tariff. However, those products that are subject to the reciprocal tariff as well, then they will be subjected to both the most favored nation tariff as well as the reciprocal tariff. We do understand that there may be consideration for retrospective implementation from the 1st of October once approved, but that also depends on how the U.S. Congress decides to extend AGOA.
Because, of course, there's still the very real possibility they won't.
Yes.
And, I mean, I suppose that then becomes it. There's no contingency plan. We can't force them to extend it. If they don't, bye-bye AGOA. It's been a lovely 25 years or so, but that's it.
Well, as I said, the indications are that both the administration as well as Congress are in full support of the extension. And the extension is aimed at allowing further improvements in AGOA, which is why they are only looking at a short-term extension of what is indicated either a year or at the maximum 3 years. So the indications are that there is still support for AGOA, but this short extension is to allow them to be able to make the necessary amendments. So the indications are that there will be an extension beyond a year, subject to some amendments. And the understanding at this stage is that it will be a straight extension So all the countries that are currently beneficiaries of AGOA will therefore be included in the short-term extension, including South Africa.
From South Africa's point of view, I mean, what strategies have you been deploying to try and maintain strong commercial and investment ties with the US? I know much of that work will be done from DIRCO's point of view, but from trade and industry, what strategies have you been deploying?
There have been engagements with the U.S. towards a trade deal, especially that aims to deal with the reciprocal tariffs, so unilateral tariffs that the U.S. has imposed from the 2nd of April this year. And that aims to reduce the current 30% reciprocal tariff that South Africa is facing. And we are engaging with the U.S. towards negotiations of that trade deal. But of course, while we are continuing to negotiate with the U.S., the aim is to also look at how do we continue with our diversification efforts so that we can also tap into alternative markets that exist across the globe. And luckily, South Africa has a number of trade agreements where our traders can immediately have preferential access into alternative markets.
I appreciate your time. Xolelwa Mlumbi Peter, who's the Deputy Director at the Department of Trade and Industry.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
And of course, speaking of DIRCO, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, we've invited spokesperson Crispin P. Reed to take us through the awful news that emerged from Paris yesterday. Natim Tetwa, our ambassador to France, dying, and it's understood he fell to his death from the 22nd floor of the Hyatt Hotel in Paris after being reported missing since Monday. Crispin, whatever your politics, this is devastating news.
No, definitely, Bongani. The passing of somebody often is not something to celebrate at all. And I think this is a difficult moment for colleagues who have worked with Ambassador Mtetwa and family members across the board as well.
Can you give us some clarity on the circumstances surrounding his death?
At this point, we are not able to provide any clarity pending the investigative report from the French authorities. As we understand it, he had left home on his way to a cocktail dinner, and that's the information that the wife had provided to the French authorities. And we now do understand that his body was found at the Hyatt Hotel. Of course, there's a great deal of speculation and reportage around it, but I think we as a department would prefer to wait for the official report from the French authorities, and then that would then enable the family to communicate what they deem necessary to communicate in the public domain.
All right. I mean, obviously, as you say, there's a lot of reportage around this. I mean, can you at least confirm whether it is true or not that he fell from the 22nd floor?
No, that's at this point, it's definitely not something that we're able to confirm. Although there is reportage around it, we would prefer to get the official reportage from the French authorities.
Crispin, one of the things people will want to know, no doubt, is what is the protocol for officials of, this seniority as an ambassador? Would he typically have, security detail, some kind of protection officer with him? How does an ambassador go missing?
Yeah, no, ambassadors don't have a protection detail because it's not necessarily warranted in the scope of work that they do. They are already monitored by the host country in various ways. They are provided with a lot of support from the host country, as well as the country that would send them there. But in terms of having a security detail, it's not something that would happen ordinarily. That would be under very extraordinary circumstances. I actually can't imagine such a situation where an ambassador would be required to have a protection detail in a host country, because in terms of the Vienna Convention, they are in the care of the host nation.
So for example, would then the host nation provide the ambassador some kind of protection officer?
They wouldn't, but they are well protected generally because of the immunities that apply to a host to an ambassador in such a country. So it's really, really under very odd circumstances. And like I say, I can't think of one where we would require.
Would he have a driver?
Definitely, he would have a driver. But there are circumstances sometimes where the ambassador can deem it fit to attend a meeting within close proximity to their office or anywhere without necessarily going with the driver. But yes, it would be strange for an ambassador to go missing because the entire mission would have to know where an ambassador is at a certain point in time, because there's a whole protocol around the engagements around how ambassadors execute their work.
When did you know he was missing?
I learned that he was missing after having had a conversation with the wife, who reported that this matter has been reported to the police, and we are awaiting confirmation from the police as to what the investigation would reveal.
So when was that? When did you find out that the ambassador was missing?
Early yesterday around 10 o'clock.
So when do you expect an update from the French authorities, and when can we get definitive answers then in terms of what you can tell the public?
Well, we at this stage can't set a timeline for the French authorities, but we understand that they are leaving no stone unturned, and we hope that possibly by the end of the week there will be something of a lot more clarity that they can provide around the circumstances of the late ambassador's death.
Can you confirm perhaps when his remains might be returned to South Africa?
We can't. That would be subject to a report from the French authorities, which would determine the cause of death, and then that would then kick in the repatriation process.
I started this conversation by saying whatever one's political affiliation, this is, of course, devastating news. But nonetheless, the relevance of all of that is his name has been mentioned at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, and there will be some speculation as to whether any of this is related to that.
Well, people will speculate about a number of things, but as is the case normally with these type of commissions, I think people must really wait for the totality of the evidence to be presented before making a conclusion about what they hear from these commissions. And I think that's the responsible thing to do.
As a host country, if something like this were to happen to an ambassador here, what protocols would kick in?
We would, like we are doing now, we would be investigating the cause of death so that a death certificate can be properly issued, and we would then be engaging with the country concerned about the repatriation processes, and we would be heavily involved in those protocols. But definitely it would warrant an investigation from law enforcement.
Final question, how far would you say this hotel is from the ambassador's official residence?
As I understand it, it is not a very close place. It's a good 8 kilometers or so from the ambassador's official residence.
So he wouldn't have walked there, for example?
It seems like he would not have walked there.
It's, the more we know, the less we know. But I appreciate your time and coming in. Crispin Phiri is the Department of International Relations and Cooperation's spokesperson.
EWN Business.
All right, 29 minutes after 7, let's catch up with business now. We played a clip earlier, Ray White, arguments between the Republicans and the Democrats. The U.S. government shut down for the moment.
That's right, Bongani. All is not well in the United States. The U.S. government has shut down after a Senate vote to extend funding failed short of the midnight deadline. The 55 to 45 votes in the Senate fell short of the 60 votes needed to advance new legislation. U.S. government agencies will now have to discontinue all but essential activities, such as law enforcement, potentially disrupting everything from air travel to the monthly jobs report. Experts say that the nation's politics have grown more dysfunctional, and this is affecting governance. Also ahead of the votes, President Trump added fuel to the fire. He threatened to cancel programs favored by Democrats and fire more federal workers if the government shuts down. He told reporters, "We'll be laying off a lot of people. They're going to be Democrats," he said. Well, more than 150,000 workers are due to leave federal payrolls this week after taking a buyout, the biggest exodus in 80 years, Bongani.
Goodness me. Let's talk about Discovery Green, set to make a major contribution to the grid.
This is a nice story. Discovery Green, the renewable energy business of Discovery Limited, has signed a 20-year power purchase agreement with independent power producer Red Rocket. This is a 300-megawatt solar farm to be built in Standerton and Mpumalanga, financed through a club deal arranged with Absa Bank, Standard and the Development Bank of Southern Africa. The Turney plant is scheduled to begin operating in 2027. Turney will comprise about 463,000 bifacial solar modules and connect to the national grid via a 132 kilovolt overhead power line. It will avoid over 709,000 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent emissions per year. Turney is Discovery Green's second renewable energy project with Red Rocket, following the financial close on phase 2 of the 150 megawatt Overberg wind farm earlier this year.
Bifacial solar modules, I wonder.
I don't know. I'm not an expert.
To find that out. Where's the rand?
Right, the rand at the moment is to the dollar 17.25, the pound at 23.21, the euro 20.27, platinum $1,570.10, gold is $3,860.20, and Brent crude oil is $66.22 a barrel. I'll have more business news for you in an hour.
Right, time now for your latest eyewitness news. This one brought to you by Bathroom Bazaar, pulling the plug on high prices. And of course, the big story is all about the ambassador. Good morning again, Mungiz.
That's right, Bongani, good morning. Now, the Department of International Relations has revealed that at the time of Nathi Mthethwa's passing, he did not have protection detail. French authorities are currently investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of South Africa's ambassador to France. Yesterday, government confirmed that he died in a Paris hotel. International Relations spokesperson Crispin Peary.
Yeah, no, ambassadors don't have a protection detail. Because it's not necessarily warranted in the scope of work that they do. They are already monitored by the host country in various ways. They are provided with a lot of support from the host country, as well as the country that would send them there.
Let's turn to this now. Parliament's presiding officers say they want strengthened parliamentary diplomacy to be their G20 legacy. Speakers, deputies and other legislative representatives from G20 countries, the African Union and European Union will gather in the Western Cape today to discuss these matters. Parliament says it wants to be a convener and bridge builder between nations, regions and people. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
This is the 11th P20 Speakers Summit, which has included meetings of women parliamentarians and the youth. It meets under the theme of harnessing parliamentary diplomacy to realize global solidarity, equality and sustainability. Speaker Toka Didiza says this theme is particularly relevant in today's climate of uncertainty in which conflict and trade tensions are affecting global sustainability.
The summit provides an important opportunity for parliaments to commit to concrete actions that advance peace, equity and sustainable development.
Amid strained diplomatic relations with the Trump administration, the U.S. legislature, which will assume the presidency of the P20 from South Africa, will not be represented by its House Speaker. Rather, a 4-person delegation of representatives and embassy officials will be attending the summit, which will be addressed by President Cyril Ramaphosa this morning. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Claremont.
The East London Magistrates Court is expected to finally hand down judgment in EFF leader Julius Malema's firearms discharge case. Now, the court is set to deliver its ruling after spending the past 2 days recapping evidence presented by witnesses during the trial. Malema is accused of contravening sections of the Firearms Control Act, including the unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition. The case stems from a 2018 rally in Mdantsane where the EFF leader allegedly fired shots into the air in front of thousands of supporters. Alfara Moshwana reports.
Over the past 2 days, presiding magistrate Toinette Olivier went through the details of every witness testimony heard during the trial. That process is now complete and she's expected to deliver the court's findings and judgment in Julius Malema's case this morning. While the lengthy judgment process frustrated some within the EFF, Olivier insists it was necessary to carefully reflect on all the evidence.
Yesterday and today dealt with the summarizing of the entire case, including all the exhibits, and that consumed 2 days. I could not do otherwise. What is left is the evaluation, the law findings. I cannot see that it can be more than 2.5 hours max.
Malema maintains his innocence, insisting the firearm in question was a toy gun that contained no live rounds of ammunition. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, East London.
And in the Philippines, rescuers are searching collapsed buildings for survivors after a powerful 6.9 magnitude earthquake jolted the central part of the country, killing at least 60 people. Now, the shallow quake struck at around 10 p.m. last night off of the island's northern end. In addition to the 60 deaths, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council listed 147 injured across the Central Islands, where 22 buildings were also damaged. Partly cloudy skies in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures starting at lows of between 8 and 13 degrees and peaking at highs of between 24 and 26.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North between the Elands interchange and the Klulis interchange. And then if you continue making your way towards the Baklu turn-off, more traffic volumes due to roadworks that are taking place right near the Baklu turn-off. Expect delays coming out of Van Buren Road.
The top story in EWN, the Department of International Relations has revealed that at the time of Natim Teto's passing, he did not have protection detail.
For mind-blowing bathroom specials, come to Bathroom Bazaar. Shower yourself with a little love with the Bathroom Bazaar shower promotion and get 15% off all shower enclosures. That's right, 15% off all shower doors and screens while stocks last. That's Pizarre. Come to Bathroom Bazaar. Come to Bathroom Bazaar. Bathroom Bazaar, pulling the plug on high prices.
So you thought you were building a business? In this economy? Good luck. But day by day, somehow it grew. You became payroll, procurement, PR, and pressure valve. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. What's that saying again? What doesn't kill your business makes it stronger? Or at least it should be that. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore. It's who you are. And you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Hey besties, welcome to my kitchen tour, or should I say my new walk-in wardrobe. Over here we have the pantry, now home to my jeans and shirts, all color-coded. Oh, and the air fryer, literally the perfect place for my makeup brushes. And who would have thought, the oven is the place to store my handbags.
Who needs a kitchen? Simply spend 200 Rand or more and you could win Simply Asia for a year. T's and C's apply. Simply Asia, connecting the Thai way.
No one will ever understand just how much your car means to you. The way Bumblebee carried you through road trips. Or how Ruby Gold has been there for every big moment. This Name Your Car Day 2 October. 702 is teaming up with Stellantis, the global automotive powerhouse behind brands like Citroën, Alfa Romeo, Peugeot, Opel, Jeep and Fiat. To give you a chance to win your share of 20,000 Rand. 20,000 Rand. All day on 702. WhatsApp a voice note of your car's name, the story behind it, plus your name and ID number to 072 702 1702. We could call you all day with 5,000 Rand to celebrate your bond. Thanks to Stellantis on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani and team. Bongani, I have a question, and I don't know if there'll ever be an answer to it. With all this that's coming out of the Matlanga Commission, I mean, our politicians, our politics is in such upheaval because it's all these people that are still sitting in very high-ranking positions. We as the public, the tax-paying people that voted for you, that put you there, and this is all what's happening and coming out. Could, at this point in time, if all this is proven true, could we have something like another election, like a referendum or something, Because, I mean, my word, it makes a movie laughable. I mean, really. Take care. Bye.
Good morning, Bongani. Nothing too much mystery going on. My assumption is that an ambassador would have a security detail. So we need to understand what is it that they know, where were they when Mr. Mthethwa fell off a 22-story building. And the French police reported that they tracked his phone. His wife reported that she received a unsettling call from him. That's why she ran to the police. But I think at the heart of everything, the security detail needs to be interviewed, and we need to find out the report of where they were and what happened. But I don't believe he is dead. This is Tuto from Midrand.
Tuto from Midrand. I mean, you heard Crispin categorically saying the ambassadors do not get protection officers, certainly not from their countries of origin. And it would take extraordinary circumstances for even the host country to provide them such. As you might imagine, for the ordinary South African, if I'm, I don't know, at Hyde Park Mall or at Sandton City, for argument's sake, I wouldn't know the person passing next to me, shopping beside me, if they were the ambassador or even their driver. I think there's nothing that ordinarily would attract that kind of attention to them. And so that made sense to me, what Crispin explained there, Crispin Peary, the DIRCO spokesperson, saying at best they might get a driver, but even there, they're free to opt not to be driven on particular nights going to specific events. So obviously lots of questions remaining about this and the circumstances around his death, and those will become clearer in the coming days. Now, as far as the first voice note is concerned, referencing the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, I'll give you one name, Louis Liebenberg. Didn't Jacob Zuma call him the definition of loyalty? This is a man who is at this very moment at Kgosi Mampuru maximum security prison, who has been hobnobbing with politicians in office after Jacob Zuma left. You know how that game goes. If you can be associated to a specific individual, everybody else says, no, he was KG's friend. He was Amo's friend. He wasn't mine. Nothing wrong with me. Right? You know how they disassociate themselves from their associates? See what I did there? Senzo Mkhunu tried that trick as far as Brown Mokgotsi is concerned, denied that link, and then, of course, admitted it later. He just didn't see Mkhwanazi coming.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. Your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. So first we'll give you 1,000 Rand if you can give us an answer, and then 2,000 Rand to the person who gives us the question that leads to the answer. It's complicated, it sounds, but really isn't. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask Outsurance for 500 Rand, and they will give it to you. Mpho from Lanseria has today's answer. Good morning, Mpho.
Morning, Bongani. How are you?
I'm well, Mpho. What's today's answer?
Today's answer is Billy Joel, 52nd Street.
Billy Joel's 52nd Street.
Yes.
That's a very good answer. Honestly, Mpho, that's a really good answer.
Yes.
I'm trying to be clever. All right, tell me, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
Yes.
Your biscuit. 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Billy Joel's 52nd Street is the answer that Mpho has given us. What is the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
16 to 8, EWN Sport brought to you by the all-new Hilux Legend 55. For 55 years, the Hilux has been conquering South Africa's toughest terrain. And now, there's a new legend in the family, Anthony Teixeira. It's not a Bakkie, it's a Hilux. Let's talk about match day 2 of the UEFA Champions League.
Yeah, there were tons of goals last night, Bongani. Good morning. With 33 across the 9 Tuesday fixtures in the UEFA Champions League, Harry Kane firing Bayern Munich top of the table in that 5-1 win over Pafos. The only other sides to make it back-to-back wins to start their campaign were Real Madrid and Inter Milan. Elsewhere, Liverpool slumped to a 1-0 loss to Galatasaray. Spurs ended with Bodo Glimt in a draw, and it may not have been the return to Stamford Bridge that Jose Mourinho wanted or would have dreamed of, as his boss Benfica side lost 1-0 to Chelsea. However, the reception is something he appreciated.
I don't feed myself with these memories. I feed myself with victories and results. Of course, I thank them. I know that is going to be a relation forever. Hopefully, I come back here in 20 years with my grandkids, and they belong to my history, and I belong to their history.
I love how you say his name in the authentic Portuguese way. How do I say it?
Mourinho.
One more?
Mourinho.
Mourinho.
Back home, Orlando Pirates have moved third on the Betway Premiership log, 6 points off of top side Mamelodi Sundowns. They do have 3 games in hand, though. Coach Abduslam Wadu credits the team cohesion as part of the reason behind their 2-0 success over TS Galaxy.
The spirit, for me, that's meaning a lot for coach, and showing that the spirit in the dressing room is fantastic. So for me, I'm proud of them. I'm proud coach. I'm a happy coach when I have such fantastic mentalities in the dressing room.
Today, Kaizer Chiefs are up against Amazulu. In cricket, India won the Women's World Cup opener by 59 runs against Sri Lanka, while today's match has New Zealand facing Australia from 11:30. In rugby, Rassie Erasmus says the Springboks won't be complacent heading into that rugby championship clash against Argentina at the weekend after beating them this past weekend 67-30. He was speaking at the squad announcement, which only saw one change to that starting 15, Oxenjay coming back after shaking off a niggle.
You know, we lost to New Zealand by 7 points in Auckland, and the next week we gave 40 to them. So, luckily it's not the players who's writing themselves up and who's making a hell of a fuss about themselves. The reality is you're going to play against the Argentinian team who will be hurting. And we know when we've been hurting, I will pitch up the next week.
And in tennis, Carlos Alcaraz has wrapped up the Japan Open title, an 8th title of the season. He shrugged off Taylor Fritz 6-4, 6-4 in the final. The Spaniard also confirmed that he won't be participating at the Shanghai Masters due to physical issues. Last week, he rolled his ankle, with it hampering him throughout his Tokyo opener. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
It's not just a buggy. It's the new Hilux Legend 55. So it's not just another launch. It's a legacy continued. It's not just an updated exterior, but sleek design with styling bar and roller shutter. It's not just Legend 55 badging. It's a legendary badge of honor. And you're not just a driver, but part of our community, our legacy, our legends. It's not a buggy. It's the new Hilux Legend 55.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
It's an important day at the Madlanga Commission. General Dumisani Khumalo, who is the head of crime intelligence, but also convener of the political killings task team, is testifying. Both General Mkhwanazi and General Fani Masemola said this is the man who's going to be adding more information and bringing some evidence from the claims that have already been made by both of them. So let's hear what General Dumisani Khumalo has for us.
It is my view that the attempt to disband the political killings task team was due to the influence of a particular organized crime cartel over the Ministry of Police as well as the South African Police Service.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702. Checkers Little Shop is back with 46 new minis. Get one free when you swipe and spend 200 Rand on deals like Oma Auto Washing Powder 3 kgs for 119.99 and Clover Bliss Double Cream Yogurt 1 kg, any 2 for 79 Rand. Plus, stand to win a trip to Legoland Dubai. Simply buy any 3 participating products and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until Sunday at Checkers. T's and C's apply.
We're gonna make insurance great again. We're gonna build a wall around high premiums. A big wall. The best wall. And guess what? You're not paying for it. We're gonna grab poor service by the policy. It's gonna be tremendous. Believe me.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision, people are saying, ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just lacquer insurance.
EWN Traffic.
10 minutes to 8, this EWN Traffic brought to you by the new Opel Grandland. With smart take and striking design, it's German engineering on a grand scale. Test drive one today at your nearest Opel dealer. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got an accident in Linden. It's right on Tana Road at Linden Road. It's causing heavy delays. I'm seeing other routes just approaching Tana Road, heavily backed up as well. Victory Road is backed up due to the scene, so please be on the lookout there while traveling in Bryanston. Peak time delays along the intersection of Winnie Mandela Drive and Republic Road. There's also queuing traffic in Sharon Lee along Malibongwe Drive towards the N1. While traveling in the city of Tshwane, traffic is backed up along the N14 North, approaching Euphues Road. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Don't ever settle for great. You know that great feeling after nailing a big presentation? Imagine upgrading that. I'm talking driving home with your car's massage seats, practically high-fiving your bum. Headlights so bright, you feel like the star your boss said you were. Arriving home, making an entrance, grander than your slide transitions. Go grand in the new Opel Grandland. Designed and made in Germany. Visit opel.co.za for more.
Opel Grandland. 702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question. The answer is Billy Joel's 52nd Street. Let's go to Spamandla in Katlehong. Spamandla, what's the question? Spamandla.
Hi, Bongani. The question is, what is the name of the album that was first released on a CD?
Yes, the first commercial CD released was Billy Joel's 52nd Street on this day in 1982. Congratulations, Spamandla and Katlehong. 2,000 Rand is coming your way. All thanks to Outsurance and 702. I said it was honestly such a good answer because this song, Honesty, is on that album.
But if you look for truthfulness, you might just as well be blind. It always seems to be so hard to give. Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. From you.
Majestic classic by Mr. Billy Joel. Honesty from this album, 52nd Street, released on this day in 1982. It was the first commercial CD sold to the public, and it really changed how we listened to music. Bye-bye analog, although the LP is making somewhat of a return. Now, 52-year-old Janine turned her car insurance premium into a win, not a worry. See what I did there? With Outsurance, she now pays only 561 Rand a month for her 2024 Kia Picanto. And with just one call, Outsurance got 29-year-old Tsana on track with a premium of just 796 Rand a month for her 2025 Jetwa Dashing. Ready to get more out of your insurance? SMS out to 45142 today. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning, you good-looking breakfast show host.
That's because we can see you now on our YouTube. If you've ever wondered what Kabazela looks like, now's the time to get into our YouTube live streaming. And I'm looking at what you have there behind you, Kabazela. You must be really rich to have that.
Really rich to have that. Yes. So this was an interesting video that I saw. And this guy is talking about adverts that you saw when you were growing up as a youngster and you thought, wow, to have that, to own that, you must be really, really rich. So he's talking about a specific ice cream cake in the USA. I mean, we don't have it here. We didn't have it here. But let's take a listen to the advert that he's talking about. And then I want to ask you a question thereafter.
When you were growing up, was there a product you saw advertised that made you think, wow, if only we could live like this, because you incorrectly thought that it was something for the super rich just because of the way it was advertised? Like this Breyer's Viennetta ice cream cake. I saw this ad in the 80s or the 90s, and the way they advertise it, where everything is all crystal, everybody's wearing like tuxedos, I thought this was for billionaires. Like, I assumed that this is supposed to be kind of a joke, right? That they're serving this on a sterling silver platter and that it's a fine dining situation. In real life, I assumed this ice cream cake was like $6, something like that. But I just remember watching this thinking, wow, someday to be rich and to be able to eat one of these things.
Beach holiday for me. A beach holiday.
What a beach holiday.
Yeah, that's the thing I would have thought, oh, you have to be so rich. Because you see some of the ads, particularly for the more exotic locations, and you think, gosh, you'd have to be so rich to go there. And as you get older, it's sometimes within your reach, right?
It is. So we can ask the question about adverts that you saw and then your perception of that. But I want to widen it a little bit and go to the point of saying, let's say maybe you went to somebody's house, you were invited to a friend's house or another family member's house, and you walked in and you're like, wow, they've got that. They must be doing really, really, really well for themselves. So when I went to somebody's houses and I looked at the bathrooms and I saw showers, I was like, yo, these ikes are living at large. Because in our family home when we grew up, in the two bathrooms that we had, we didn't have showers. We only had baths. And then later we did, one of those tap extensions where you put the shower head up and convert the bath into a shower. But we didn't have a real shower. Traditional showers, so to speak. So that was for me, showers in other people's homes. What would it have been for you?
Growing up in the 80s, the homes that had an eye-level oven, oh my gosh, those were meant to be, I remember my mother and her friends would talk about an eye level. If you had an eye-level oven, and I don't know what happened to the eye-level oven. It's no longer a thing, I don't think, in quite the way that it was.
No, you don't see that much.
Right?
Yeah. And what was so nice about those is it was double level, so you could do something in the top and at the bottom.
Sweetie, but the eye level, that was the thing to get. I think later on, a double-door fridge became a sign that, in fact, if you had a silver fridge, that was initially a big thing because everybody had a white fridge, right? And when the silver fridges started becoming a thing, that was a sign of affluence. Right? What was that sign for you that you thought, gosh, only the rich have that and you want that one day?
702. Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Baphelile Sambo, did you guys have an eye level?
No, unfortunately, we didn't.
A silver fridge?
No. We were never.
So what was that
for in my neighborhood, if you had like a DSTV, when the DSTV dish was coming, we were like,
yes.
Oh, also a fish tank. So if you had a fish tank in your house.
Fish tank?
Yeah. You were like, how can you afford that? Like
a fish tank?
A fish tank with a fish
with
tank.
actual fishes
with
in them.
actual fishes swimming.
Fishes.
Yeah, kokasi. You were like,
Okay, now before someone sends us a text, we know the plural of fish is not fishes. We're saying it for dramatic effect. All right, what feedback do you have for us?
Hey, beautiful Bongani. This morning, 702 listeners are very unsure about the way the death of Ambassador Nati was reported. They want some sort of proof, and I don't know what that would look like, especially with the Madlanga Commission still in the background. They say we need to see something. We need to be sure.
So some of them don't even believe
They do not
he's
believe that
on.
he's dead at all. They're saying, it is one of those things.
Look, I mean, people love conspiracy theories, but let's safely assume the French authorities aren't going to come up with some fake death of an ambassador, right, on their territory, because whatever the reason, this is the kind of thing you don't want to happen on your soil. So there's no way they're going to collaborate on a lie.
Something like this.
On something like this that would in some ways reflect badly on them, right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not suggesting that they were involved in this at all, but the point is no host country wants an ambassador from another country to die on their soil without some explanation. So I think we can safely believe that he is no more. As to how he passed, well, that remains the million-rand question, is it not?
This is EWN.
Nathi Mthethwa's cause of death still a mystery, and US government enters shutdown as Congress fails to reach funding deal. Good morning, Monki Zikoko. The Department of International Relations says French police probing Nathi Mthethwa's passing have not yet found a cause of death. News of Mthethwa's death broke yesterday after his body was found at a hotel in Paris. Now, speaking on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, the department's Crispin Piri also revealed that at the time of Mthethwa's passing, he did not have protection detail. It also came to light that Mthethwa was attending a cocktail party at the hotel that same evening. He previously served as the Minister of Police before Arts and Culture and prior to his death as ambassador to France.
Well, we at this stage can't set a timeline for the French authorities, but we understand that they are leaving no stone unturned, and we hope that possibly by the end of the week there will be something of a lot more clarity.
The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has appointed Advocate Matthew Chikoskin as its chief evidence leader. This follows the departure of Advocate Terry Motau, who stepped down from his position. Now, Motau led the evidence of National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola over 2 days last week. It remains unclear why he stepped down, with the Commission claiming he left on good terms. Oren Singh reports.
While Advocate Terry Motau has yet to make any public statements about why he stepped down as chief evidence leader for the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, it's understood that he was not completely happy with the way the Commission was going about its work. Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels confirmed Advocate Matthew Chaskelson would take up the reins of evidence leader.
The Commission confirms that Advocate Terry Motau SC has stepped down from his role as Chief Evidence Leader and has left the Commission on good terms.
Chaskelson was one of the evidence leaders in the State Capture Commission. His focus was on the illegal money flows, and his work stream recovered 875 million rand from global consulting firm McKinsey & Co. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
Government says it is confident the US will agree to a short-term extension of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, also known as AGOA. AGOA is a trade agreement that dates back to the year 2000. Now, it allows for duty-free access to the US for goods from countries based in sub-Saharan Africa, including South Africa. The AGOA deal expired yesterday, with the White House and representatives from the African countries working behind the scenes to renew it. Speaking on the sidelines of the extended cabinet Lekgotla yesterday, Minister in the Presidency Kumbuzo Nchabeni says there are encouraging signs from the US Congress regarding renewing the deal.
We have indicated even in previous years to say AGOA, in terms of the economic impact for South Africa, it's 1.3% of our agricultural economy. So we are looking at the work we're doing to have an agreement with the US on our trade relations, but we support the initiative. Remember, we made proposals on the renewal of AGOA.
And staying with the US, the government has begun shutting down this morning after lawmakers and President Donald Trump failed to break a budget impasse during acrimonious talks that hinged on Democratic demands for healthcare funding. Democrats and Republicans have been unable to bridge their differences on funding the government beyond Tuesday, which was the end of the fiscal year, with both sides blaming each other. Senate Republicans tried to rubber stamp a House-passed temporary funding patch, but could not get the handful of Democrat votes that were required to send it to Donald Trump to sign off. Now, Democrats want to see hundreds of billions of dollars in healthcare spending for lower household incomes restored, while the Trump administration is likely to eliminate this. Gold is trading at $3,858.47 an ounce. The rand is at 17.27 to the dollar, 23.21 to the pound, 20.26 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $66.22 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the Mike North. This is a stop-and-go situation between Car Street all the way towards Grayston Street, obviously because of peak time delays as well. And if you're traveling on the N3 North bumper-to-bumper traffic as well between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Baklu interchange due to roadworks.
And in your sport, Kaizer Chiefs look for first league win since August as they face off against Amazulu this evening, while Orlando Pirates are up to third in the Betway Premiership. PSG against Barcelona will headline the Champions League clashes for this evening, and the 2027 Rugby World Cup draw set for December.
A partly cloudy morning in Gauteng. Johannesburg starts at a low of 12 degrees, peaking at a high of 25. Pretoria's at 13 and 26. Vereniging 8 and 24. The top story in EWN this hour, the Department of International Relations says French police probing Nathi Mthethwa's passing have not yet found a cause of death.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
6 minutes after 8 o'clock, the big story, of course, has to be the passing away yesterday of our ambassador to France, former Minister Nathi Mthethwa, understood to have died at a hotel in Paris. Some of the reporting around this suggests that he may have fallen off the 22nd floor of a hotel in the city of lights. Is Paris the city of lights? What's Rome then?
No, Paris is the city of lights.
Yeah, Paris is the city of lights.
I don't know. Venice, city of love. Not sure about
Rome is the eternal city.
Correct.
Yes, Rome is the eternal city. I digress. We spoke a little earlier on to Durko's Crispin Peary, who said to us that it is not standard protocol for ambassadors to have protection detail, so he wouldn't have had an officer with him. The French police are probing that death, and as soon as we've got official word from them and the family has been notified, we will then, I suppose, get a statement from Durko. But right now, everything is mere speculation. So that is certainly the big story of the moment, and it becomes an even bigger story because Nathi Mthethwa was mentioned in the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry just last week. In fact, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi said that as police minister, Nathi Mthethwa showed him the worst example of political interference he had ever encountered when he was the acting national commissioner.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
And of course, yesterday we saw those messages between the murder accused, the attempted murder accused, Vusumuzi Kat Matlala, and Brown Mkhotsi, who is this associate, said to be a close friend even by some, of the suspended police minister Senzo Mchunu. It was really quite extraordinary. One of the things Mkhotsi would do is he would organize and arrange for people to be flown to Cape Town to go listen to the president at the ANC's January 8th gathering. Certainly that was the case this year. 8 people got flights to go and attend that gathering. Mkhotsi would ask for all sorts of funding from Matlala. I think at one point he wanted 200,000 rand for a table for the group. I mean, it's really quite unbelievable. And it raises all sorts of questions about what the president would have known, because if he did know, what did he do about it? And if he didn't know, well, that, of course, also is a problem. And look no further than his handling of the Andrew Chauke matter, that inquiry only beginning this week. 2 years after the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Shamila Batoy, had written to the president to say, this man who is in charge of public prosecutions in the economic hub of the country is a problem. We need to look at his fitness to hold office. Not only are there accusations against Andrew Chauke in terms of interfering with cases, some have been dropped without real explanation. Remember the case of Zizi Kodwa, the former minister? We still don't know why that case was dropped by Andrew Chauke, but it was. And the president? What did he know? When did he know it? And what did he do about it?
Let's talk.
We're listening.
So I've got this app. This is almost nothing to do with the show. I'm just confessing, and I'm just wondering if anybody else has a similar problem. I've got this app, Admit, the one that allows you to, because I always lose the tickets to park at a shopping mall. I always lose them. So I use this app called Admit, and for some reason it needed to update this morning, and it's registering me as if I've never been on it. I can't remember my license plate.
Oh dear.
Does anyone have the same problem? Is it just because it's an over 50 thing, Ray?
No. It's cell phone numbers we don't, and license plates we don't.
Cell phone numbers I can understand.
Yeah.
But I've had my vehicle now going on 3 years.
And nothing.
I can't remember my license plate. Does anybody else have the same problem?
I know we're in the same age WhatsApp group, but you're on your own.
Do you know
here.
your license plate?
I know the
What's
first-
your registration?
I've just got a new car.
How long ago?
Last week.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
MN. I know it's
can forgive
MN.
you. I can't. Does anyone else have the same bloomin' problem? It's annoying. I can't remember my driver's license plate. Kabazela wants to know, what was that sign of affluence when you were growing up? You went to somebody's home. He was impressed by showers, and he thought, oh gosh, this family has arrived. I remember the family across the road from where I lived not only had a television set, but they had a VCR.
Ooh,
They had
yeah.
e-video. We didn't call it a VCR. It was called e-video. They had e-video, right? The eye-level oven. That was a sign of affluence in
That
my
was cool.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever happened to the eye-level oven, by the way?
dear.
It's no longer a thing,
No,
right?
not really.
But growing up, again, my mother and her friends, they'd be, oh, amo, an eye-level. Oven, yeah, boy, eye-level. Did you have an eye-level?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we
you
did.
had an
yeah.
eye-level.
Oh, we did. We
You
were,
see?
yeah.
You had it made. Amo, did you have an eye-level?
Yo, we didn't have an eye level. We didn't have a lot of things
No,
growing
no, no.
up.
So
Come to
it's
think,
not an eye level.
yeah,
Eye level.
Get
it right.
Lovely.
No, we didn't have it. But we certainly knew that the house, our neighbors were kind of like rich because they had fancy toys for their kids. I mean, imagine in the 90s, you have a whole PlayStation for your child, for your son. A fresh
was something.
bicycle. That was something. That was like,
Yeah. In the 80s, growing
Mm.
up in Mthatha, if you had a phone,
as in,
a
in the house.
landline,
A landline.
yeah, that was a sign. I mean, we used to get calls next door. You would receive a call
Even
next
from
door.
the- from your neighbor's
Yeah.
home.
Oh, wow.
You can't relate to that?
No,
You're
no.
too
We
young.
had phones even in my mother's bedroom.
Ah.
Yeah, like so we'd
Yeah,
have
that-
two televisions, and you could hear the conversation if your grandmother's calling your mom
Yeah.
over something naughty you did at her house, and then you would go to the other side and listen if
And
you're in
listen
trouble.
So that came later. But when I was about 8 or 9, we didn't have a phone at home. You would take your call and next door.
We had a phone with a long cable, and we could walk from room to room. One of those things.
Malibongwe is in Midrand. What was the sign of affluence for you? Malibongwe? Right, I'm not sure what's happening with that phone call. I tell you what, let's give him a chance to call us back. And let's listen to some voice notes, KG.
Hey, beautiful Bongani and your listeners. I did get the pun, hey? I think it was intended. When I grew up in my neighborhood, a room divider was the thing. You know, when you had a room divider in your home, you had arrived. Also, a TV. I must say, you know, when we didn't have a TV in the neighborhood, my family was the first ones to get a TV. You know, there was those boxes, and everybody, all my friends, my age group, used to come and watch TV in my house. Yeah, it's very interesting times. Now we're talking flat screen TVs and the size. It's not even about the actual TV, it's about the size of the TV that you've got.
Hi, Bongs. For me, it was growing up in the 90s. It was not only having a full DSTV, but full DSTV package. Like for me, that meant you were a billionaire. I also had an uncle who had his own business. He had a TV in his office. So I had a TV at home, having a TV in your room and a TV in your office. I was like, wow, this man is Bill Gates himself.
Hi, good morning, Bongani. Nora here in Heidelberg.
something that I really thought was magical when I was growing up in a village in the Eastern Cape. It was KFC. I thought, wow, that golden brown chicken. And one day when I got some money, I went to our local tech shop to buy myself KFC. I was probably about 10 or 11. I got in the counter and I asked, can I please have some KFC? And the lady was so confused. And then after she understood what I want, she said, no, no, no. You need to go at Dolopini Mthatha to buy KFC, my child. So I really just wanted to taste this KFC. And when I did, it was very, very good.
Hi, Bones and the 702 lenders. Wow, growing up for me, things like your subscription channels, things like Mnet. Mnet was a big thing because when we grew up, we only had OpenView for everybody, and then after 7, if I'm not mistaken, that's when the people that actually paid for it get to watch it. And when you get to school the next day, they'll be discussing it. You have to act like you know what they're talking about, but in your mind you're thinking, wow, these guys have it made. And then after that came DSTV, of course. But yeah, back then it wasn't the norm as it is now.
Morning, Bongs. The average home back in the days had a normal 54 centimeter TV box. When I used to visit my friends or visit someone's house and I saw a 64 or 72 centimeter box, I knew those people have money.
And then the 74 came around, didn't it? The KFC, we didn't call it KFC, hey Kentucky. We right down to the details of, we knew the different packages. So for example, I think there was a difference between iparel and ipaquet.
21.
I think the 15 piece was the bucket.
Yeah.
And the 21 piece was the barrel. And if the family could afford iparel, you can't. Sweetie, you are made. I'm still trying to get over getting phone calls next door, because that was also a thing. All right, we've got Malibongwe back on the line. Are you there, Malibongwe?
Hi, Bongs.
Hi, how are you doing? What was the sign of affluence for you?
Yes, I think this is the previous caller had said, the Mnet decoder, and not just the Mnet decoder, a holy place of gold. At school, when people were discussing that soapy, a holy place of gold, that was exclusive because you knew not everyone can watch a holy place of gold. Only people with a decoder.
Oh, DSTV was exclusive. And now we're at that point where people say, I don't need DSTV, right? Isn't that funny? How what you once aspired to, and I suppose that's the whole point of materialism, the things you once aspired to become nothing at some point in the future.
Yes, yo. DSTV. We had a teacher who used to brag at DSTV high at school, right? And he would tell us that some of you will never have a DSTV. Guys, you know how quick I installed DSTV after I found my test shop. Yo, DSTV, Azania here.
Getting that satellite dish, right? Because the other thing about DSTV, unlike a VCR, everyone in the neighborhood knew because you had the dish.
The dish, yeah.
The sign.
And you used to go to neighbors' homes to watch things like Idols and other things on DSTV.
That's what I can't get over, because I'm trying to think, in what universe would some child from next door come and watch TV at my house today?
Not now.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking, imagine Amo lives next door and is now coming to receive her phone calls of my line. I mean, that was the norm.
But don't we do that now with Wi-Fi? If
What?
your Wi-Fi is down, don't you go to your nearest neighbor to send that email, to receive that quick Zoom call? Or what? Wouldn't you do that now?
Not
I
really.
think you would.
We still have data on our phones.
I mean,
Amo.
come on, but we're talking in situations where you are really pressed and you don't even have
next door.
Yeah, you would.
Hi,
This is people, Bongani.
Maybe go into the driveway and just sit there.
No,
a bit.
because you have to get
It
the
works.
password. You can't go into the driveway.
Okay.
I think people would still do that. We still do share things as neighbors, but the things have changed. It's no longer the.
We don't share Wi-Fi.
Bongani.
I refuse.
The question from Kabazela, it was the Jojo tank
So where we grew up, we used to struggle with water. You know, that's the issue. So the Georgia tank was the big deal, man. Like when you see a Georgia tank next door, yeah, it will be like, wow.
20 minutes after 8 o'clock. I told you a little earlier on about this bizarre story from a restaurant in Durban on Florida Road, where a man was taken into custody by police after ordering a meal. He spent 1,500 Rand, except he didn't pay for it. My ace producers have been able to find the spokesperson for the security company that called the police. Kyle van Rienen is joining us on the line from Durban. Kyle, thank you very much for your time this morning. This is a bizarre story. What can you tell us about the circumstances of it?
Morning to the listeners. Yeah, look, it is. It's definitely. It's not as strange as one would think. It's not as once in a blue moon as one would think. It's not as scarce. It does happen. So basically, Entry Security have a dedicated vehicle and team in the Florida Road precinct under their inverted commas UIP operation that they have there, where we are dedicated to the street. We were called by the restaurant manager for a patron that had dined in their facility, rang up a bill in excess of 1,000 Rand, and then proclaimed to not have any money and refused to pay his bill. So, yeah, we responded to the scene. When we arrived on scene, we found the gentleman. This is where it got interesting. He had been put to work to wash the dishes in the restaurant while he awaited the authorities' arrival.
What had he ordered?
So we weren't made privy to the bill, obviously, because that's confidential in terms of the restaurant and their client. But we were told that it was a 3-course meal with drinks, and with it being a medium to upmarket Italian restaurant or Mediterranean to Italian restaurant, yeah, we could imagine it was a couple of drinks with a decent size feast.
Had he dined alone?
We were told that he had, yes.
So where's he now?
We handed him over to the South African Police Services. We assume that a case has been opened. We are in the process of following that up. But yeah, he's in the custody of the South African Police.
And so you're saying this is actually something restaurants face quite frequently, or at least a lot more than the average person might assume?
Yeah, so Bongani, it's not only restaurants, it's also petrol stations. So, I mean, a lot of people ask, what is bilking? Bilking is when you take something without paying for it effectively. So you either sit and you order a meal, and then you complain about it and say this meal is not to standard when you know that there's nothing wrong with it, and you demand your meal for free. Or you get up and you leave without paying. So you say, I need to go fetch something from the car, and then you disappear. Or you fill up with fuel and then you run away, you drive off without paying. And we see it happen regularly, especially in fuel stations, more than restaurants, but we do see it happen in restaurants. And ultimately, the sad reality that people don't understand, and I'm not pointing fingers at this restaurant or suggesting that it happens there, but what does happen in a lot of establishments is that the poor waitress lands up having to fit the bill. And, they might think they're doing the restaurant owner dirty, but they're actually not. They're doing the poor waiter who's 9 out of 10 times supporting a family or a student, and they then having to fit a hefty bill at your leisure.
It's quite unbelievable. Kyle van Rienen, Ensure Security spokesperson, speaking to us from Durban. There, the line not so clear, but I think we've got the gist of it. Hey, bilking, it's called. You get services and you just don't want to pay. It's one thing to talk about people doing so out of need, but at a fancy restaurant, 1,500 Rand on your own? Goodness me.
EWN Traffic.
All right, this Eyewitness News traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. There's a crash on the N1 North. Amo?
Yeah, Bongani, that's in the Naturina area. It's right after the N12 exit. Do expect delays there. There's also bumper-to-bumper traffic on the Mike 1 North. This is between the Crown interchange all the way towards Grayston. A stop-and-go situation along this route. Please be on the lookout and drive with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a nervous but excited first-time driver waiting for the perfect gap to switch lanes.
I can do this.
the pressure. The Outsurance pointsman knows not just a car in traffic, it's a sense of freedom and independence on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Catch up with news from elsewhere around the world. Adam, we spoke about the Gaza deal yesterday. The clock is now ticking for Hamas to agree to it.
Yeah, rumination time. Yeah, a 3 to 4 day deadline is what Donald Trump gave Hamas to respond to this 20-point plan. And indeed, Qatar's foreign ministry says Hamas is studying the White House proposal responsibly, but that it will take several days to respond. Will that fit in the 3 to 4 day deadline? We shall see. In fact, there is a meeting in Doha as we speak. The plan includes an end to the fighting, the return of hostages, and a basis of a longer term plan for Palestinians. I'm sure the whole world would sort of tick those boxes. But just to indicate one tiny example of how fraught this process could be, and certainly is likely to be, is that a credible pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood is stated. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will forcibly resist the idea. So in the very act of agreeing the 20-point plan, the Israeli Prime Minister has kind of pulled the rug as well.
Yeah, I've mentioned all along that I think the idea of a two-state solution is dead in the water, and Netanyahu more or less saying the same thing. All right, Adam, let's talk about Gandhi's statue vandalized in London.
India demanding immediate action against those who vandalized this statue. There it is, the bronze statue of Mahatma Gandhi in Tavistock Square in central London, built as a tribute to Gandhi because he studied at the nearby University College London. He studied law there. He's depicted in robes, sitting cross-legged, but somebody or several people have spray painted the word terrorists across the plinth, and then the words Gandhi, Modi, and Hindustani. Now, it's not clear who's behind the graffiti. London police have not arrested anyone. They've talked about it being racially aggravated. But in the words of the Indian High Commission, this is a violent attack on the idea of non-violence. And doesn't the world feel a bit like that at the moment?
And talk to me, Adam, about the world's highest bridge.
If you see a video of this, there are plenty of them online, a drone sort of sweeping along the bridge and up and over and down and about and so forth. It is dizzying. It is extraordinary. The Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge in China, in Guizhou province. It towers 625 meters above the gorge that it goes across, 2,000 feet plus. It sits above the clouds. In the video, you see the clouds down there. It's extraordinary. A test team drove 96 fire trucks into designated points of the bridge just to test it out, although I kind of want more than that, because if it was full, the bridge would have far more than 96 trucks. But anyway, Chinese officials say this will cut the travel time of getting from one side of the gorge to the other from 2 hours to 2 minutes. The bridge is now both the world's highest bridge and largest span bridge. So it ticks a few boxes for those who are pontists and like pontificating about bridges. Yeah, have a look.
Build it and they will come. I mean, as somebody with a fear of heights, Adam, I wouldn't want to be one of those 96 truck drivers, I can assure you. Adam Gilchrist with this morning's Worldview.
EWN
28 after 8, our final business update for the morning. More details emerging now on the AGOA deal. Let's talk about that, Ray.
Well, you were chatting about it earlier, and there's been all sorts of, question marks about it. Well, Trade and Industry Minister Parks Tau has given clarity on the AGOA treaty. He's now released a statement. He says there's broad support for the renewal of the African Growth and Opportunity Act in Congress, both from Republicans and Democrats. This comes after White House officials said they were looking at a one-year extension. He says he's optimistic that the AGOA treaty that expired last night will definitely be renewed. But Parks Tao says it should be noted that 36% of SA exports are currently exempt from the unilateral tariffs. However, the US government shutdown looks set to stall a final agreement. That's the problem.
Right, so explain this US government shutdown. Why has it happened?
Well, the US government has shut down after the Senate vote to extend the funding failed. The deadline passed at 6 a.m. this morning, our time. There was this vote, 55 to 45 in the Senate. You need 60 votes to advance the new legislation and pass this new budget. So you can't spend if you haven't passed the budget. US government agencies will now have to discontinue all but essential activities such as law enforcement, potentially disrupting everything from air travel to the monthly jobs report. US President Donald Trump also added fuel to the fire. Ahead of the vote, he threatened to cancel programs favored by Democrats and then fire more federal workers if the government shuts down, which it has. He told reporters, "We'll be laying off a lot of people. They're going to be Democrats." More than 150,000 workers are due to leave federal payrolls anyway this week after taking a buyout, the biggest exodus in 80 years.
So how have the markets responded to this?
Well, the Asian markets have been slightly rattled as they wait to see what happens next in the U.S. The Hang Seng and Nikkei slightly down. Hang Seng down about 1 percentage point about half an hour ago. The rand, though, is stable, same as yesterday, 17.24 to the dollar, pound at 23.21, euro at 20.27, platinum $1,557.10. Then gold is $3,854.20, and Brent crude is $66.12 a barrel. More business news with Stephen Curtis later on today.
Up next, we'll tell you about the Ultimate Braai Festival. We'll be speaking to the organizer for 2025. It returns with a bang this coming weekend. We'll tell you all about that if you reckon you are a braai master. But of course, still the big story at this hour, Mongezi Koko, is the passing of Nathi Mthethwa.
That's right, Bongani. Good morning. Now, the Department of International Relations has revealed that at the time of Nathi Mthethwa's passing, he did not have protection detail. French authorities are currently investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of South Africa's ambassador to France. Yesterday, government confirmed that he died in a Paris hotel. International Relations spokesperson Crispin Piri.
Yeah, no, ambassadors don't have a protection detail because it's not necessarily warranted in the scope of work that they do. They are already monitored by the host country in various ways. They are provided with a lot of support from the host country, as well as the country that would send them there.
Meanwhile, some political parties have paid tribute to the late ambassador, calling him a dedicated public servant and patriot. Thabiso Goba reports.
As a young man, Nathi Mthethwa received military training from the Transkei Defence Force. He was being prepared for the Umkhonto weSizwe's armed revolution against the apartheid government, which never arrived. Since the turn of democracy, Mthethwa has spent most of it in public service, serving as minister for 15 years in 3 different portfolios. The ANC says his life has been one of both struggle and service. Meanwhile, the United Democratic Front has praised his wisdom and the professionalism he brought to his diplomatic career. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
Gauteng Health MEC Nomantu Nkomo says the issue of fake medicine is affecting chronic patients like HIV and diabetes. Nkomo was speaking in Kempton Park at the launch of the National Action Plan set to combat the use and distribution of fake medicine yesterday. Now, the MEC says the use of the fake medicine often worsens the patient's condition, adding pressure to the province's already inundated healthcare system. Jabuli Lembata was there.
Gauteng Health MEC Nomantu Nkomo says every day people's lives are impacted by medicine that does not serve its purpose or heal them. The World Health Organization says 1 in 10 medical products in low to middle income countries like South Africa, medicine is substandard or falsified. Nkomo adds that they have discovered that even some chronic medicines like that of people living with HIV or diabetes has been falsified, risking their entire livelihoods.
This puts a heavy burden in our hospitals, in our clinics where staff work tirelessly to care for patients who arrive in a very critical condition in the hospitals and in the clinics.
She says it has become a priority for the department to deal with this problem. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News, Kempton Park.
And in Indonesia, the National Disaster and Mitigation Agency says around 91 people are believed to still be trapped under the rubble of a collapsed school. Yesterday, students were performing afternoon prayers in a building that was undergoing unauthorized expansion when it suddenly caved in on them. A 13-year-old student was killed and 99 others were taken to hospital, some of them in a critical condition. Search and rescue operations are currently underway to find those who are still missing. Partly cloudy skies in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures starting at lows of between 8 and 13 degrees, peaking at highs of between 24 and 26.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. This is between the Yelands interchange and the Gilulis interchange. An accident has been reported between these 2 points. Please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic, in fact, bumper-to-bumper traffic due to another accident seen near the Greyston Drive off-ramp. Delays coming out of Harton Drive.
The top story in EWN, the Department of International Relations has revealed that at the time of Nathi Mthethwa's passing, he did not have protection detail.
Hey besties, welcome to my kitchen tour, or should I say my new walk-in wardrobe. Over here we have the pantry, now home to my jeans and shirts, all color-coded. Oh, and the air fryer, literally the perfect place for my makeup brushes. And who would have thought, the oven is the place to store my handbags.
Who needs a kitchen? Simply spend 200 Rand or more and you could win Simply Asia for a year. T's and C's apply. Simply Asia, connecting the Thai way.
Spin for the win in the thrilling Hollywood Bets Spinner Zonke Jackpot Race. Stand a chance to win a share of 3 million Rand in cash. Feel the rush of fiery fortunes every Wednesday, Friday and Saturday between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. when you bet 2 Rand or more on selected habanero slots. Spin for your shot at big wins. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
It's that time of the year. Sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, blocked noses and coughs. It's time to live, work, play and sleep allergy-free. For trusted relief for you and your family this allergy season, ask your pharmacist for the Adcock Ingram OTC Allergy Survival Pack. With products like Allergex Non-Drowsy, Cetacid, Levogex and more, we have you covered. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC. And visit beprepared365.co.za.
702 and corporates that care with Tracker are talking about Tracker's partnership with Matthew, an initiative helping South Africa's future leaders succeed in maths and science.
We have been part of this incredible country for the last 29 years. South Africa has helped us grow into the organisation that we are and has helped us be part of the economy of this country. So fundamentally, we now have to give back. We have to make sure that not just for the last 29 years, but for the future 29 years, we're participating in that conversation. Secondly, Bongani, Tracker is growing exponentially at the moment. We're employing at all levels within the organisation, from top to bottom in essence. So what we're actually looking for as part of that growth fundamental is to make sure that we have the right people coming into the organisation. We can either be part of the solution or we can be part of the problem or do nothing.
Tracker, protecting futures by investing in STEM education. Visit matthew.co.za to learn more. 702, let's walk the talk.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
For me, Bongani, it's the color TV, I come from the area where if you had a TV, it was a small black and white. And if you go to your friends and they've got a color TV, then you knew, okay, they'd made it in life.
I understand, Bongani, like when we are teenagers, yes, things like the double door fridge and, that house, people had a car, yes. But I remember when younger, I was amused to see this family from the kid, bageza ngelaks, and we're like, how is that? Everybody's using Ilax, guys. And I remember later on in life, I've never used bar soaps, but I started using bar soaps. I think I started with Dove, and later I got to use Lux. And I remember saying, oh my God, guys, we have arrived.
Hi, Bongani.
and Ray. We do, and even with the time at the times of load shedding, I mean, your laptop will run out, and you'll go to your neighbor who has a generator or solar UPS, and you charge your laptop.
Now that I can understand.
But what I'm saying is there's new things that you would want to share with your neighbors as opposed to Wi-Fi, sharing passwords for...
So maybe my difficulty with Wi-Fi is that once you're in, you can't go out.
You can. If you change your password, I'll be out.
I don't even think I know how to do that. I'm over 50.
You're just happy to have the Wi-Fi connected.
We're talking about those things that were a sign of affluence when you were growing up. Certainly, I get the whole Lux bar soap. And I remember the advert in isiXhosa because Lux bar soap was used by Inzwagazi Marcia Turner. Do you remember? You don't know who Marcia Turner was. So Marcia Turner was a Caribbean model. I think she'd been Miss something or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so she was brought to South Africa to promote Lux bar soap. Mm-hmm. And obviously the idea was that if you used Lux bar soap, you too would look like the beautiful, and that's what Inzwagazi means, Marcia Turner. Anthony Teixeira, what was the sign of affluence when you were growing up?
Toblerone chocolates. It was one of those things that I never saw until I was well into my teens, and then all of a sudden it was like the wealthy people had Toblerones. Yes. And so even nowadays, I feel very rich. I have extra money when I have a Toblerone.
Yes, that makes sense because the wealthy people didn't eat a Cadbury. Right? And don't tell me it's Cadbury. Cadbury.
EWN Sport.
Oh, we're allowed to have a little bit of fun on a Wednesday. Anthony Teixeira, of course, in for Cindy Paluta all week. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, young man.
Thank you.
Tell us about Kaizer Chiefs.
Well, they'll go in search of a first Betway Premiership victory since August as they come up against AmaZulu. Since the international break, Amakosi have played 2 games a week, and assistant coach Khalil Ben Yusuf says it's meant that video analysis has become instrumental.
You know, when you are in this situation, you don't have time to work. It's always difficult to correct, to try to make something in the training. The players, the professionalism, how they are in every meeting, how we discuss, how we analyze every situation. We see that even without training, but we find some solution to correct some mistake.
Kickoff is 7:30. Last night, Orlando Pirates recorded a 5th successive league win to jump 3rd on the log. They beat TS Galaxy 2-0. In Europe, there were wins in the Champions League for Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Real and Atletico Madrid, as well as Inter, Atalanta and Marseille, while Liverpool were beaten 1-0 by Galatasaray. In selected matches this evening, Man City are in Monaco, Arsenal host Olympiacos, and the headliner sees holders PSG at Barcelona. Hansi Flick says he's been impressed with the European champs.
It's a world-class team. It's a team with fantastic players and fantastic coach. I really love what I saw here the last season, but also this season, how the style, how they play football. So it's for us a big challenge.
That blockbuster kicks off at 9 p.m, but the early matches begin at 7:15. In cricket, defending champions Australia's women will be starting their ODI World Cup against New Zealand at 11:30 this morning. Well, right now, the two nations' men's sides are meeting in the first of 3 T20s. Baggy Greens won the toss and are having a bowl. It looks like it's been the right choice as they've toppled over the top order of the Black Caps, with New Zealand sitting 35 for the loss of 3 in the 6th over. In rugby, the 2027 Men's Rugby World Cup will start exactly 2 years from today. The date for the Australian tournament's draw has also been confirmed for December 3rd. The expanded tournament will feature 6 pools of 4 teams, with the addition of a round of 16 clash for the first time at the showpiece. And Wallabies' most capped player, James Slipper, announced this weekend's clash against the All Blacks will be his last time out as he calls time on his international playing career. The 36-year-old became just the 3rd man to play 150 tests for their nation this past weekend. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes before 9 o'clock. Amor, let's see what's happening in traffic at this hour?
Well, the M1 North remains heavily backed up, Bongani. This is between Houghton and Grayston Drive due to a major accident seen near the Grayston Drive off-ramp. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling in the southerly direction, there's also queuing traffic between Marlborough and Corlett Drive due to On Lucas. And heading towards Sunning Hill, we've got delays on the N3 North between Vincent Chabalala Road and the Maclue interchange, and that's due to roadworks taking place along this route. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North coming out of the Yelands interchange towards the Kilulis interchange. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Gardeners, it's time to save big with Stodl's flash sale. This week only at Stodl's Garden Centers. Get 30% off all plants and 50% off all pots. Do you know how expensive plants and pots are? Visit Stodl's Garden Centers in Bryanston, in Ferndale, or Menlo Park today. Pop in and experience the happiness for yourself. Stodl's is ready to greet you with lots of free smiles. Stodl's, create happiness.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
No one will ever understand just how much your car means to you. The way Bumblebee carried you through road trips. Or how Ruby Gold has been there for every big moment. This Name Your Car Day 2 October. 702 is teaming up with Stellantis, the global automotive powerhouse behind brands like Citroën, Alfa Romeo, Peugeot, Opel, Jeep and Fiat, to give you a chance to win your share of 20,000 Rand. 20,000 Rand all day on 702. WhatsApp a voice note of your car's name, the story behind it, plus your name and ID number to 072 702 1702. We could call you all day with 5,000 Rand to celebrate your bond. Thanks to Stellantis on 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
Coming up
On the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
All right, Clement Manyatela show between 9 and 12. And in the hot seat, as of course was the case yesterday, Tabashola Mashao, good morning.
Good morning, Bongles. I hope
you
you're
free?
good. I am free. How are you doing? Don't say you're dumb.
dumb.
Wow.
So we were talking, having
Yeah.
fun, because sometimes one must. 'Cause
Yeah.
What else can you do with the news cycle?
Yeah.
What was that sign of affluence in your neighborhood when you were growing up? When you went, say, to the house next door.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The rich people.
Yeah.
on your street,
Yeah.
What did they have?
A beautiful garden to start off with. What we called in the townships stop nonsense, meaning a wall, an
Yes.
erected wall.
Yes.
And we would even say it's rough crusted if they had made it look good and it had some decorations on it. So
You called it what?
It was rough crusted.
Rough crust.
Yeah.
Do you remember a face brick?
Yes, of course.
Right? I remember when the houses in Protea.
Yes,
Protea
yes.
Glen were built.
Yes.
Face brick
I
was the
remember.
thing. Hey, face brick.
Yeah. An extension one in Dobsonville as well. We had a litany of face brick houses. So from the outside, it would be that. But I agree with you. If they had a telephone, a landline telephone, you knew that they're doing pretty well. And
But isn't it bizarre? I mean, how could you be receiving calls and someone else's? I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah.
Because obviously there would have been personal calls.
But it's a communal environment. People used to read each other's letters simply because the other guy couldn't read. So someone
Goodness
would receive a letter and they couldn't read, and they'd ask their neighbor to read out the letter for them. So it was a communal environment, I suppose. I don't think we took it.
We were
step
talking
further.
about Knight Rider, I think, on
Yeah,
Monday,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I used
Michael
to watch
Knight.
it next door.
I watched
Because
a
we
lot
didn't
of
have a
stuff next
TV.
door. I watched a
watched
lot
it
of stuff
next
next
door.
door.
Knight Rider. Oh, kids. And this poor woman didn't have kids
Yeah.
my age. I think
Yeah.
her son was a toddler.
Yeah.
When we would, so it's not as if he was our friend.
Yeah.
We would come and knock in next door to watch Knight Rider.
Man. We've come from far.
What's on the show this morning?
A couple of things, Bongles. 9 to 10, open line. As you know, Pete Hexworth, I don't know if you listened to him. He's the
The
our
war
version.
secretary now.
Yeah, our
Secretary of
War now, because the
Yeah, it's
department's
not
name
defense.
changed. Yeah, no, I was gonna say our version of the Minister of Veterans and Military. Kimam Enji wabona. So Pete Hagsworth says the military people, from the junior guy to a 4-star general, must be in good physical shape. Every single day they must do physical training. They must look like military people. No beard, all shaved off, or else leave the army altogether. So I wanted to ask, how do you want our military and security people to look and to be like? Will that instill confidence in you that we are well looked after, or that stuff doesn't really matter to you as a South African? So that would be some of the things that we'd be exploring on the open line. And at 10, we will look at what oversight role opposition parties should play in flagging irregularities. Of course, this is in light of the Tembisa hospital looting that we were all speaking about, and we'll be speaking to the DA and EFF in Gauteng. At about 10:30, we are talking about whether boys have been left behind in the quest to get to gender equality. Are we compromising our boys as a result? Then just after 11, it's the listener's choice. We'll speak to the National Financial Ombud Scheme about how your car's roadworthiness can impact your insurance and claims. And of course, the sharing space at 11:30 we'll share with you then.
All right, Tawashola Mashao on for Clement Manyatela. My only comment, Tabo, would be perhaps before Pete starts targeting the rank and file, he must look at his commander-in-chief, eh?
So, Taryn, you've just graduated cum laude, but nothing says you're a genius quite like selling your car to We Buy Cars.
Absolutely. My car was an 18th birthday present, and it's time to move on to something a bit more mature.
So, where did you hear about We Buy Cars?
All of my friends are using We Buy Cars. I would have had legit FOMO if I hadn't used them. And it was so quick. I did it on my laptop while sending around my CV.
Smart move, Taryn. Graduated and upgraded. We Buy Cars. Geared for success, geared for you.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for general practitioners, dentists, surgeons, and other medical specialists. Kuveni.
It's so nice to know the business risk is taken care of by Business Outsurance. The call center was just a dream to deal with. Very seamless, easy experience, and it just feels like the people we're talking to on the other line understand our needs.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Morning, Bongani and team. Bizarre at the judge there. The judge now suddenly can't see. To sham. Plus Julius is from Limpopo. I digress. Okay. If she wanted to do the to give verdict, she could have just called someone. Guys, I have my eyes. I can't see. Can you please come and read me this? This is the verdict. Or just put it on a WhatsApp, please, man. Huh? What's the judge doing now? All of a sudden you can't see. All of a sudden, J. Seems like someone is just waiting for payments to reflect. Then they do judgment. Suspicious. These things.
Ooh, okay. You're taking it somewhere else. We played a clip earlier of the East London magistrate Toinette Olivier, who seemed to be disoriented yesterday as she delivered the judgment in the Julius Malema firearm case. There are others, of course, who will make all sorts of suggestions, witchcraft included. I think you're suggesting corruption there, which is something not to speculate when it comes to an officer of the court, particularly a magistrate. I think you might get yourself into some hot water there. But nonetheless, it is expected that she'll finally be able to conclude and deliver that judgment today. Let us hope.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Grab your sun hats because the Ultimate Braaimaster Festival 2025 returns with a bang this weekend. October 4th and 5th at the Fire and Wine venue in Zwafelpoort. Tickets are selling fast and for good reason. The stage will be burning with some of South Africa's great music acts, side-splitting comedians, and a lineup that is loaded, sizzling, and ready to make this Braai weekend the Braai weekend of the year. Dwayne Riley is the co-organizer of the Ultimate Braai Festival and joins us to tell us more about this exciting event. Dwayne, a very good morning to you and welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me on and to the listeners.
What for you makes the ultimate good braai?
Sure. Apart from obviously good meat, it's about the camaraderie around the fire, and bringing people together. But for me personally, when it comes to braai, I like to do low and slow and a nice big piece of meat, something like a short rib full on the bone, and just let it cook slowly as the day goes by and finish off with some vorsies and rashes.
And of course, I think key to all of that has to be your marinade, right? And letting your meat sink into that sauce.
That depends on the person. Me personally, I don't like to put sugar on my food. I like to have savory and dessert later, but some people like to have dessert with their savory too.
I can hear
like
the
a nice
shade.
blood.
I can hear the shade, Dwayne. Don't like sugar in my meat. All right, talk to
Yeah.
me about the Ultimate Braai Festival and how it captures the spirit of the South African braai.
Yes, so as you guys mentioned a little bit earlier, it's everything that goes around a braai. So it's got the live entertainment with the comedians, because there's always that guy that cracks a joke, etc. So we've got Chris Forrest, obviously one of the co-founders of the Ultimate Braai Festival, and then we've got David Cow. Then we've got our demonstrators that's going to be taking place. Benny Masukwameng, everyone knows his face. He's been around forever.
Yep.
Pete Goff-Wood. Then we've got a few up-and-coming well-known chefs like Keegan Maestri and Susie van Drecht that's really promoting braai to the ladies these days, because braaiing's not just a guy thing, Ladies cook in the kitchen and it's assumed that they're not able to braai, and yet they make the best meat on open flames. So it's beautiful that we can encompass everything with regards to that. And then ending the evenings with some live entertainment acts. And we've got Ross Learmouth, Lofi, Drums and Drum, Jasper Dan, interactive DJs and so forth.
And will there be competitions for people to participate in?
Yes, absolutely. There's actually a competition on the go. That's a cooking competition or the braai competition. On that particular note, there's two aspects to it. There's the competition side, which is make your own boerewors and bring a signature dish. And then when you go through to the finals, it's a mystery box challenge. I won't let the guys know what's in that. And then tied in with that, if you're not a competitor, you can go and do judging. So there's a judging element as well. This is all available at Quicket at Ultimate Braai Festival. So if you want to sit arm in arm with the likes of Pete Goff-Wood and Benny Masukwameng and see how they judge and their criteria, you can go and buy a judging ticket for that too. There are a few spots still available for that particular one.
All right, and what's your secret tip to a great braai?
It's about fire management. It sounds very silly. Personally, I like to have a cold spot and an ultimate hot spot. Not because a lot of people in South Africa, especially if you're doing cheese and yama, like to just burn everything. Personally, I like to take it off and let it go onto a cold spot on the fire. That's. I mean, the meats obviously work with your butcher and know what meat you're looking for, but it's about fire management and heat management.
All right, so when are we coming over to your house for a braai, hey?
Open invite. I'll give you the address, but I'm worried I'm going to get stalked.
No, that's quite all right. And of course, an important element to include in our conversation is that on Saturday, you'll also have big screens for anybody who wants to watch the rugby game against Argentina.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully another cricket score for South Africa.
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, I mean, that is literally everything that braai encompasses. Obviously, it's called the Ultimate Braai Festival, but braaiing is so much more than just cooking meat, and that's it. It's about having the game on. It's about having artisanal beverages with a bar, with the live entertainment. It's literally everything. And then the exhibitors, there's stuff that you don't really get to see out in your normal areas. And then obviously we've got an interactive exhibitor space where there is your normal people that you'd see in the shops, but at greatly reduced prices. So it's everything in one space, a whole day's entertainment.
Tickets are selling fast. You can get them at Quicket, the Ultimate Braai Festival on this weekend. Dwayne Riley is one of the organizers.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
It isn't hard to find. You can have the love you need to live. But if you look for truthfulness, you might just as well be blind. It always seems to be so hard to give. Honesty is such a lonely word. Everyone is so untrue. Honesty is hardly ever heard, and mostly what I need from you. I can always find someone to say they sympathize if I wear my heart out on my sleeve. But I don't want some pretty face to tell me pretty lies. All I want is someone to believe. Honesty.
The first CD ever released commercially, it was New Technology in 1982. And it led to a digital revolution that ultimately saw itself die out. If you follow what I mean, we moved from analog. Without the CD, we wouldn't be having music on our phones. We wouldn't have had DVDs and Blu-ray. But here we are. It just keeps moving along, doesn't it? Billy Joel's 52nd Street was the first commercially released album on CD on this day in 1982. And of course, it featured this fantastic hit, Honesty. That's what we want in this society, in this country, from the citizenry and from our leaders. We don't often get it, do we? It's such a lonely word.
This is EWN.
Good morning, Mungi Zikoko. During his testimony before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry 2 weeks ago, KZN Police Commissioner accused Nathi Mthethwa of politically interfering in policing matters. News of Mthethwa's death broke yesterday after his body was found at a hotel in Paris. Investigations surrounding the circumstances of his death are currently ongoing. Mthethwa, who was serving as SA's ambassador to France, previously served as the Minister of Police at a time when crime intelligence was under public scrutiny. Oren Singh reports.
During his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhonazi accused Nathi Mthethwa of halting criminal prosecutions into former crime intelligence head Richard Mdluli back in 2011. Mdluli was accused of abusing his powers by misusing the crime intelligence slush fund. At the time, Mthethwa was police minister and Mkhonazi acting national police commissioner. Mkhonazi claims Mthethwa accused him of forcing the former inspector general of intelligence, advocate Faith Radebe, to write a letter to the NPA instituting criminal